You're listening to the Gettin' Salty Experience podcast.
And away we go. Welcome back. Gettin' Salty Experience podcast. It's the only one that brings the Firehouse Kitchen table to you. And we got a straight shooter tonight. Ruffy had it written down on his pad as we were in the show. Yep, there it is. Straight shooter. Straight shooter, son of a gun. We got a hard charging straight shooter tonight. Ruffy loves him because he's a hunter. He kills things like Louis does. Poor innocent animals scurrying about his property.
Oh, I've seen you eat plenty of steak, my friend. I got a bolt to the head before you ate it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yes.
Love it.
Yes.
Delicious.
Great career, hard charger. Like you said, straight shooting patriot. Love those guys. And we got
What
him
did he
tonight.
say? Well, we were going through the timeline. And you said to him what? So when did Ruffy was pointing his finger at you? What were you saying to him? And what did he say? He goes, first thing he says is, "Well, I got the biggest lift," or so. I forget how he worded it.
We'll go over it. Yeah. So he's no stranger to lifting or being lifted. So he's been on both sides.
You know, we
like
have
that.
the same personality.
Both of you guys are about to get lifted off the show. This guy will come over and come down from the farm and crack your jaw for you.
Big chief. This would be him right here. Great
That
guy.
would be me. Exactly
Cross
right.
him, we'll do something stupid. Then
I wouldn't do anything. I would never do anything with this guy in particular. So,
yep.
You know.
And another guy, we're all family on the job. We had the show the other night with the 5 floors up. Generations. This gentleman got 3 kids. Oh, look at me and Ruffy. We got the same notice tonight. We got the same shirt.
Feel very out of place.
Let's do the Sesame Street. Guess which thing doesn't belong here?
Oh,
yeah.
So look at Pete's face.
Wah, wah, wah.
I got the sad trombone here somewhere. I'll play it. There it is.
Yep.
All right. Should we, we should just bounce right into this, but we should pay these bills very quickly, right? Because we have a quick one tonight.
Yep.
Okay, guys, tonight, very quickly, GettinSaltyApparel.com, GettinSaltyApparel.com, where you too can match Lewis and Kubi's right there with the cool T-shirts that they're wearing, or perhaps maybe get this classic vintage hat that I've got, this dad hat, or this tumbler that I'm using right here. Kubi's, how about those Firehouse Expo shirts? Are they still?
They're gone, bro. There's only a few left.
There's only a few?
Really only a few left.
Wow. Yeah. So I don't have one to show you now, but guys, trust me on this one. Head on over to GettinSaltyApparel.com. You will find some of the coolest shirts. Get that Firehouse Expo shirt. I think that's the best one.
I think I put a small on the side for you, Pete. I'll send it to you.
What, you got a medium?
For my right thigh.
Pete.
Wearing around my right thigh. Rambo. All right. And guys, so head on over to GettinSaltyApparel.com if you want to support us, please. We appreciate that. Also, this super chat, guys. If you absolutely positively have a question that you have to ask the chief tonight or something, shoot it to us in the super chat so we make sure that we see it. Guys, I'll only ask you to do one thing. Stay on topic. If the chief's talking about, like 9/11 or something, don't be like, hey, did you know Timmy?
If he knows Joey Baloney from
Joey Balone from 245 ladder 758. Yeah, it's really not appropriate, and I refuse to ask those questions. So until the end of the show,
he might know about the slide into the 14 tonight, bro. You know, the 17 fits the 17.
You mean the Glock 45 that has the 17 frame with the 19 slide on it?
Yeah,
I see him nodding in the green room, and he knows. He knows about the balance of the Glock.
The chief loved guns, and Pete had a boner talking about his guns in the.
Hey, because I got a real Civil War rifle behind me right here, man. Yeah. And Chief knows history. Anyway, super chat, guys, or super thanks if you guys want to do the old. It's kind of like a monthly thing on YouTube. If you guys want to do that with us, you're welcome to. But we get by because of you guys. You guys keep the wheels turning. You're our number one sponsor, so we thank you for anything. A shekel, 2 shekels. I don't know. What? Maybe 3 shekels. What? I don't know. Whatever you get. We got
Fat Daddy Ray in the chat, and his name was being bantered about in the pre-show too. So we'll get to him.
108 guy. 108.
Glock 45.
No, Glock 45. All right, is that it? We done with the shenanigans?
That's it. You know, we could bring up.
We got a lot of stories. We got a lot of pictures. We got a lot of fire stuff to bring in. Let's bring in. Let's bring in Assistant Chief James Daly Jr. Woo!
Hello, guys.
Don't forget the junior.
I put the junior in there.
That's right.
Yep.
We didn't know. I forgot. I didn't know it was a junior.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
we'll find out all about senior as we go
All
along
right.
here.
We are.
But
We are.
First, Pete, we got two things to do.
Well, we got to get patriotic, which is the number one thing we
As
do.
soon as
Once
he's
we
not even
start
in
the
the
show
chat,
officially,
Screaming her bloomers off. I
we
don't know
don't
where
need.
she is.
We don't need her to scream her bloomers off. Look at what I got over here. I got an old Glory and a Civil War rifle. I'm as safe as a kitten here, ladies and gentlemen, women of all ages and men of all ages. The Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Fantastic.
You know what? I was just watching Band of Brothers, and I've been watching it, like rewatching that series, man.
Mhm.
I don't know. It just gets me every time. Sorry, guys. It does. Because
Are you crying right now?
no, I'm not crying. You're crying. My
No, you're crying.
my wife's grandfather landed on Omaha Beach
She's
third
crazy.
wave. So for
Your
me,
wife's
it's like,
grandfather?
yeah.
What?
He's
I
like
thought he was-
96.
He wasn't from Israel or something? He was a Jewish guy.
Bro,
right?
he was in the tank division, third or fourth wave, landed on Omaha Beach, bro. He's
Your
a bad
wife's
motherfucker.
grandfather? Ira?
Yeah, he was not Ira. David.
David.
He was
Ira?
shot. Poppy David was shot through the spleen by a German sniper, and then he
What?
Yeah, and he almost didn't
This is
make
the
it.
first time you're bringing this up.
I'll
That
talk
always
about it
shows-
another
Had
time.
2 years to
Chiefs
talk
here.
about this.
Chiefs here.
Good story.
You know
God
what?
bless him.
The Chief is very patriotic, too. That came right through in the pre-show. Well, he's
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
same page as us, if we should
Mhm.
say. You know what I mean? Like,
Come on, man.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, Jack.
Look here, Jack. Come on. You wanna rub a pool and they turn blonde in the sun, and I push the kid's head down.
No
All
They
joke.
know about- and they
No
know
joke.
about roaches. And that's what I learned about roaches. I'm quoting directly, by the
Move
way. That's
on.
not even
Moving
me.
on.
yeah, and you know what? I think actually Chief Daly had maybe a tussle or two with Corn Pop in the back. He could have been.
Come
I don't
on,
know.
man. I got 3 words for you. I got 2 words for you, Chief. Made in America.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, we got to get to the other part for the alcoholic
All right,
bunch.
yeah.
Before we dive right into the Chiefs' career here. So, Pete, what is it? Give it to us.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for
I
all
got
of
this from a
you
little birdie.
who are unaware, we do a little drinking game on the show. It's called the Word of the Day, guys. Every time you hear the word or phrase of the day, we just hit this little button, and like Pavlov's dog, you go right to your cup. Okay, and now, ladies and gentlemen, the word of the day is Farmingdale Coolies.
Hey.
Cheers.
I mean, should I even ask?
We could do some research. We don't have
Is it like the old term, like coolie, like a
Let's
coolie?
go,
coolie,
Mets.
or-
My roots. That's my roots.
That was some kind of team that you were on, right?
That's where it all
Farmingdale
began. Sure. That was a racing team in the Volunteers. Sure.
Hey, nice. Before we get there, let's talk about.
Where'd you get that one from?
I can't reveal my sources.
No?
I got a lot of calls on this guest. I told him probably more calls than I've ever gotten before.
Well,
All positive too, except his wife. Yeah, because she called me. And said that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about James Daly Sr. Was he on the job? Was he? What got him to the fire?
Dad was a Teamster, local 282.
Oh, tough son of a
Of
gun.
course.
Teamster drove a cement truck for about 30 years for Colonial, Sand and Stone. And when they went out of business, he was hauling steel, cross like from Ohio and back, driving a flatbed. And then good man. He joined the Volunteers I joined in 76. He joined after me. So I thought that was kind of cool that my dad wanted to be part of something that I was doing, you know?
So basically, he was your bop when he came in. He was
yeah. Yeah, but he was beloved by all of my friends. He was the man, Pop Daly.
Yeah, Pop Daly.
Yeah.
You know what I got to do? Let's do a coolie for Pop Daly right here.
Yeah,
Give him a
Hey.
coolie.
Hey, Pop, love you,
Cheers.
buddy.
So what made you want to join the Volleys then, Chief?
So it's 1976. I'm in 8th grade, and a buddy of mine, Billy Pence, we were 13 years old. was in the fire department in the junior brigade, and he asked me to come down and join with him. So I did, and there was no turning back from the fire service from that moment on. I knew what was for me and where I was headed. And Billy ended up being a senior man in a 136 truck.
Oh, I came on with Bill Pence, Intense Pence.
Oh, Intense Pence, they called him. Yeah. He was my childhood buddy.
Good fireman. Good fireman.
Yeah. We were in 8th grade. And I remember we used to take our lunch money, and after school, I was collecting stamps. He was collecting coins. We used to go to the store on Main Street, and he would buy a Buffalo nickel. I would buy some stamp with our lunch money. And
did he finally get out? Did he get out?
Yeah, he just got out.
He just got out. I know. He was there a long time.
Was it your lunch money or lunch money you took from somebody else?
No.
I don't know how it worked back then.
That's one thing I wasn't, was a bully.
Look at this guy. Holy mackerel.
Yeah, that was, I was about 18 there.
Look at the hair, Coops, covering the ears. You know,
man.
He had the old orange fireball gloves, the rubber gloves.
Oh yeah. What were they, like $2 a pop or something like that?
I don't know, rubber gloves, and that was a lumberyard fire. We had big fire. That was Farmingdale Coolies. We were actually
real coolies. No, hold on.
Careful, you got to be careful, Chief.
We were right next to that lumberyard. It's along the Long Island Railroad track. That lumberyard. We used to run the drill team with the motorized race truck. You know, we used to have all these drag. Basically, like, if you don't know what it is, it's like a drag racing. But you're jumping off the truck at like 40 miles an hour, and you're hooking up the hydrant.
Right.
I used to dig and be ladder. You dig the spikes in the ground and throw the ladder, and the guy's climbing the ladder while it's upside down and the momentum. But anyway, we were running drill team practice, and we saw a little fire next to this lumberyard up the side of the plywood. By the time we got to the firehouse and got back with the rigs, it was a conflagration.
Parking lot.
Yeah.
Parking lot. Yeah. It's not. It turned into a drive-in movie theater.
Yeah.
So it's a massive peak with drive-in.
Conflagration.
Yeah.
So what'd you do in the meantime? Because you didn't take the test, till 82? Did you you finish high school? Did you get a job? What'd you do in the interim?
Well, I was in like I said, I was in the Teamsters in Local 282. My dad got me in there.
Oh, your dad got you in there.
Yeah, first I was a laborer. He got me on as a laborer doing the guardrail crew while he drove the steel, and he got me on as a laborer doing rip down all the guardrails. We worked all through the city on ripping down old guardrail and putting in new. Then he got me into the union, and I got in plumbing supplies. I was driving a box truck. And I had a route in like Brooklyn, the Bronx, Manhattan. And while I would do that, I would be buffing and visiting guys I knew. You know, one of those guys was one of the guys. There was two guys in the Farmingdale Fire Department that when I got on, they were city firemen. We had two guys. One was Bobby Kelly. He was in 233 engine on Hull Street. Then he went to 123. And the other guy was Pete Gansey. He was a captain.
Oh, my God.
At the time, he was a captain in 18 truck.
So he was a Massapequa guy, too?
Yeah. Pete was, he lived in North Massapequa.
I'm in Farmingdale. Yeah, South Farmingdale.
Yeah, he was Farmingdale, but he lived in North Massapequa, but he was in the Farmingdale school district area, and he was Farmingdale fireman. He joined when he got home from Vietnam. He joined Farmingdale Fire Department when he was, 19, 20. And those two guys became role models for me, because I knew I wanted to be in the biggest and best fire department in the world. This volunteers wasn't going to just cut it for me. It wasn't going to be enough.
Right.
So
you would take the plumbing supply truck and you buff out in the firehouse?
Yeah, so I would drive around, instead of making my deliveries, I'd be at 18 truck visiting Gansey. He'd say, get on. I'd taken a run with him. I'd be visiting Jerry Murtha in 175 on New Jersey Avenue when they were a single truck.
God.
I'd be visiting Bobby Kelly on Hull Street.
Wow.
And taking in runs and shit instead of doing my route.
Allegedly.
Yeah, instead of getting back to the warehouse at 2:00 in the afternoon, I'd be getting my foreman would be calling me like, "Where the fuck are you?" I'd be, I'm stuck in traffic. I'd be getting back to the warehouse in
back then they couldn't do anything.
5:00 at night, I'd be getting back to the warehouse.
With all the same amount of shit on the truck, you left with the same amount of shit.
I made the deliveries. It took a long time.
So you take the test in 82, you get hired in 85.
Yeah, I get on in 85. I'm 22 years old.
That's young, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get I guess you didn't know nobody because you went to one engine, or was that?
Yeah, basically. So I thought I knew Ronnie Boyce was in 119 truck. A friend of mine, I had met him in the Bethpage Firehouse one night, and became friends. And his dad was the captain of 103, Charlie. And I thought I was going to 290, to be honest. And it didn't pan out.
Where is that? Staten Island?
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those 3-number companies somewhere. But the day I graduated Proby school and they read the assignments, they do it in numerical order of companies you're assigned to. Mine was the first name they called, One Engine. I was like,
you're like,
hold on, that's a mistake. That's a mistake.
I go, whoa. I don't remember no other Jim Daly.
There's supposed to be 2 more ones right next to that. Oh my
God!
Look at this guy.
Yeah, man.
Look at that.
Look at this guy, indeed. I mean, again,
the
jawline. Get away in the 80s without a mustache. Everybody had a mustache in the 80s.
Yeah, no, I never did.
Never?
Still got the head of hair, though. Look at him.
Yeah,
Look at that font, he always had good hair.
Yeah, that was 85.
Yeah, so Daly's an Irish name. Was your mother?
Yeah. No, I'm Irish. My dad's Irish. My mom, I'm half Daly and half Palumbo.
I knew somebody had to get you in the Teamsters. You know what I mean?
Oh, my dad, the Irish.
Dad called Vinny Boombat, and he said, "My son."
Well, my dad knew the president of the union, Bob Sasso, back in the day, and my dad grew up in Astoria. My mom grew up in Columbus in Flushing.
Your dad didn't know where Jimmy Hoffa was buried, does he?
I never got to ask him.
Son, let me tell you about the family business.
Don't tell anybody. Jimmy Hoffa's in Giant Stadium.
Yeah.
All right, so you go to one engine. It doesn't look like you lasted long. Did you catch any work there? Or I
did. So I went there with a buddy of mine from Proby school, Timmy Farley. We walked in together. I remember the first day walking in, your uniform cap under your arm, and Proby Daly reporting for duty. And my first lieutenant, I remember, was Joe Sapienza, great guy. He was a Brooklyn fireman from 236. Back in the heyday, and he was my first lieutenant I met, and he was an awesome boss, man. Some jobs he would grab me by the collar and just walk me through these flyers. He didn't even have his mask on. It was insane. But it took me 3 months to catch my first job.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you have the pipe, or what'd you have?
It was a WNYF article. Tower
49. We didn't do good there.
First job, Tower 49 on 49th Street, high-rise fire. It went the entire floor of the high-rise from 49th to 50th, and I forget the cross streets, maybe off of 5th Avenue. I remember pulling down the block. It was out about 40 windows, and it sounded like a freight train.
Really? Oh man. Well, at least you got a good one if you waited 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, the guys from the first 2 units, like 8 engine, 2 truck, they all got burnt. They couldn't even get off the stairwell. The doors were buckled, warped, red. And luckily, it was the 3rd floor, but you had a high lobby in those high rises. The lobby's like 30 feet high. So it was just in the reach of tower ladders, and that's how they knocked it. But it was the whole floor was under renovation, so it was full of construction shanties and acetylene tanks.
Oh, shit.
It was. I'll never forget the sound, though. It was just roaring. And the boss was, like in Manhattan, grab an extra cylinder. You got your roll up and an extra air cylinder. Heading into the lobby. I was like, holy shit. But, we got mop up duty basically after the tower ladders. But that was my first job. It took 3 months. And, we catch work in Midtown. We had a lot of welfare hotels back then. The Prince George, the Martinique, it was all loaded with welfare recipients. And that's where you catch a lot of fires.
So other than that lieutenant, was anybody else there that really kind of showed you the ropes in the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, Joe Sapienza, John Casey was a captain in 24 truck. He became a staff chief, before me, obviously. He was 20 years older than me. Great man. Frank Congista was from 120 truck. He was in the 24 truck. Bobby Turner was my lieutenant in one engine. He became first deputy commissioner. Yeah, I mean, I worked with Ray McCormick. Ray, he's on the circuit doing all that.
Yeah.
I got a picture there, Ray.
Any pictures from one engine there, Pete? From the
Yeah, we got a bunch.
there we go.
We got a bunch.
So that was a hotel fire we had. I think that was the Hotel Penta across the street from Penn Station. You know, we had a room going, and from left to right, let's see, Tommy, I forget his last name, 24 truck. Then Terry Nicosia with the blue light on his helmet. Kneeling down is Tommy Ahern, was a senior guy. Next to me with all the dirt on his face, Mr. Ladder 24, Stevie Belson. We lost him on 9/11. God bless him.
Shit.
He was driving Oreo Palmer that day.
Oh, get out of
And
here.
Ray McCormick on my left there. You guys know Ray.
Yeah.
Oh, that's him right there?
Yeah, that's Ray on the far right of the picture, my left.
Right.
Yeah. And they got to see the bullhorns on the rig. They still got them on 24 truck.
Yeah, yep.
But great place. I remember the day I walked in there, I walk in the door for my first tour. First we reported, and I told you about Sapienza. That was right after Proby school that afternoon. Then my first tour, before I go in for my first tour in September of 85, the night before we have Hurricane Gloria, and I have a job in the Valleys. I have a ripping nozzle job. Guy was trying to refuel his generator in his living room.
What? His living room?
Yeah, in the living room, a generator, regassing a hot generator, lit up the house. So I had a great nozzle job. The next morning, I go in for my first tour on a job, and you got to act like a boob, like you don't know anything.
Yeah.
I got
Smelling like smoke.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I just put out 3 rooms of fire last night.
Yeah. So, but you assume your role and you play Iggy. And I walk in the door, and back then we had these metal coffee pots. They weren't glass, and the fucking coffee pot comes flying out of the kitchen between the 2 rigs, bing, dang, boom, and hits the front bay door. And I hear, get in the pan, make some coffee, you fucking Johnny.
Welcome to the firehouse.
Holy shit, yeah. All right, no problem. I'll make coffee.
Right,
I didn't even know how to make coffee, but you figure it out quick,
No doubt about it. Thank God for job security with that other guy. Holy shit, that's a classic story. Freaking generator.
Then, that was in Farmingdale. And then one of the other things I remember was, so I'm 22 years old, right? I go in the fridge. I open it up. Big gallon of milk, right? Big thing of Bosco syrup. What's that add up to? When you're 22, what's that add up to? Chocolate milk, bro.
Chocolate milk, baby.
I make a big thing like this big of chocolate milk. And the fucking guy, the senior guys, they go, what the fuck are you doing? I go, I'm having some chocolate milk. They go, the milk's for the coffee, asshole.
Oh, God.
And
What's the Bosco for then?
Yeah, that's what I said.
I
Stupid me. I should have just shut up. I go, what's the syrup for? They go, the fucking ice cream. All right. I got you.
How many guys in the chat probably even know what Bosco is, man?
Yeah,
I don't even
Bosco
make that anymore.
It's like Sanka.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Nobody knows what that is.
Bosco.
Last
Pete,
one
do you
the
know
best.
what Bosco is?
Of course I do.
All right, just checking.
It does now.
Listen, I was, I'm getting there. I'm getting closer to the big 5-0.
Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember.
Chief Esposito's in the chat.
So, Chief, were guys in the company there saying, "Hey, kid, you got to get out of here," or that was kind of your idea?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. That first of all I ever knew, like from Pete Gansey, Bobby Kelly, these guys that were my role models, and I wanted to be in the ghetto, so I was not happy to go there, but certainly a lot to learn. A lot of great guys. I mean, Stevie Belson. I worked with Billy Henry. He ended up getting killed at a Rescue 1 on 9/11.
Yep.
Stevie Geis. Guys in the engine. I worked with, Timmy Farley was my buddy. Jimmy Cody from 24 Truck. The truck was like well-respected Midtown forcible entry truck, 24 Truck. And I remember them saying to us one day, they wanted to catch work more with 65 engine than with 1 engine. I remember some of the guys saying that. It was a little disheartening to me, you know what I mean? Like they had more confidence in 65 engine than their own engine.
Really?
So, yeah. And that kind of, right the day I was off probation, I put my paper in, And I
so you put it in for two.
I put in for I put in for 4 Brooklyn engines. And what happened was I put in for, if I remember right, 234, 290, like 280, and a family member, cousin of a family member, Joe Mari. I meet him at a barbecue. He's from 108 Truck. He says put in for 216. So I put that as a 4th choice. And but you know, I didn't really have any hooks. I had, you know, Pete Gansey was a captain at the time. He wasn't up there yet, and so I put on my Class A uniform. And I go to the union, or I make an appointment with the union president, UFOA president. It was Nick Mancuso at the time. He was a fireman in 44 truck, which is kind of ironic. And I just go there with my transfer paper and I say, you know, I want to be in the ghetto. You know, and I want to get to a busy engine in Brooklyn. Boom, he transferred me.
Just like that.
Yeah. So you know, the point there is you got to advocate for yourself, man. And if you want it bad enough, you can get anywhere.
You'll find a way. Yeah, you'll find
Absolutely. You'll find a way. You know, so that's how that went down.
So let me ask you a question, just to backtrack a little bit. When you first got on the job, did you have any idea that you wanted to fly up the ranks, or you just happy to be on the job and that wasn't even a thought?
No, I mean, I was just happy to be a fireman and be on the job and be in the FDNY. You know, it was just.
When did it, like, because we had a couple of guys who got promoted really early and flew up the ranks, you know, we talked to a couple of those guys. So at what point did you think that, you know, maybe I could do this?
That kind of developed about a year or two later when I got up to 92 engine, and I had a catalyst, an impetus for that. You know, I had one of our lieutenants, and I'll talk about him when we get there to 92 engine about that. About studying.
Right, so you get into 216.
Yeah, I go to 216 in 87. I got 2 years on a job, and I get over to 216 in Williamsburg.
You meet Fat Daddy, right?
Yeah, I work with Mikey Bonanno in the engine. Stevie Trico was the chief of the 3-8. Danny Sir, who was the first guy killed on 9/11. Right, you know that story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big, you know, Fat Daddy Ray Seeley, Danny Murphy from Rescue 2. It's a good buddy of mine. You guys know Danny, right?
Was Jerry Tracy there?
Jerry was gone already. He got promoted to lieutenant.
Was the Fonz there?
Who?
Urban? Bill Urban?
No, he was gone. Kevin Shea was in the truck. Harry Ford, I worked with. Harry got killed at Father's Day fire. God rest his soul. Mike Higgins, you know, the Higgins brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was awesome, man. What a mentor he was. To me, I still credit him with a lot of my career advancement. Mike Higgins, Jimmy Marchetti, great guys, some serious, solid firemen. So I
had to be right in the heyday, right there. I mean, they were doing a lot of work in the
okay. So so the issue there was, you know, I get there and a lot of fun. Great guys, have a lot of good times. I'm in the bagpipe band now. I joined the band when I was actually. Just to digress a little, I joined the bagpipe band when I was in one engine. That was there we go. Jerry Murtha was a buddy of mine growing up if he was from East Farmdale, I was from Farmingdale, and you know, I got that bug in my ear. That's me on the there we go. Yep.
Oh, there he is. You still play the pipes?
No, I could play them, but I don't play them regularly. That's old man Ginty in the front row there.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Yeah.
Right. Brian Fink is in the back behind me there from the 19th Battalion. That's Brian Grogan, became a marshal. Great guys. Tommy White. Great guys. Good time in the band, man. We used to have a lot of fun.
My God. That's got to be some
really, it's got to be great, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway.
So you're living the whole FDNY dream, bro. You're in the band. You just transferred to a ghetto firehouse.
Yeah, you know, I waited since I was 13. You know, I'm not going to waste any more time. It took me 9 years of waiting to get on the job. I'm not wasting any more time, man. I'm jumping in, both feet. You know, so that's what I did. And
you catch any good work there quickly?
Yeah, you know, catch it. You know what the issue there is? Too many single engines all around. So we would be in the house watch at night. 108 would be going to jobs down at 111, going all over the place, going to work. We're sitting there listening on the scanner. So, you know, because you got all the single engines around there.
Yeah, they're stacked tight there.
Tight. 230, 218. Who else is over there?
227, 217.
Yeah, 217.
237, right?
Is a lot of single. 237. Yep, a lot of single engines. So between that and between like 95% of the guys in the bagpipe band at that time being from
In
the
the
Bronx.
Bronx. Absolutely. I was going to say they're all in the Bronx.
Yep. That's what happened. So Jerry Murtha and the band, so I'm there a year. And to be honest, I had a captain. I won't go into names, but, I was there like it was always the senior man got the nozzle, right, on tour. I'm not going to be the senior man for years. You know what I mean? Cap, can I get the nozzle tonight? I had like 8 years there. He goes, I'm not here to teach these new guys. He goes, if I should happen to get a fly, I want to get in and out. And I was like,
Yeah.
So
you know what's so strange? We got some guys come on, Chief, that say they give the nozzle to the Proby, and they have a senior man back him up right away.
Absolutely. Why not teach him the company way and let him develop? You know what? You got to grow firemen. You don't just become a fireman. You got to develop firemen.
Right.
And there's ways of doing that. And,
well said.
So there was a couple of things there in the works that had you thinking.
Between the band and the Bronx angle. And so Jerry calls me. And then I got the blessing from Mike Higgins from 108. He said, Jimmy, if you could get up to somewhere busy up there, it's total solid move. And, it made me feel better. He was Mike. Do you guys know Mike Higgins from 108? Joe's brother.
Yeah.
I went to Proby school with Joey.
Yeah.
He said that. He said that on Facebook.
Yeah, Joey was great. We used to bounce around too in Freeport after we got out of Proby school when we were 22, 23.
Ripping it up at Buttles.
Yeah, that was with Ray Sealy, and Joe Higgins I used to cruise around with. But Mike was awesome. What a guy, man. And he said he kind of gave me his blessing, and he was always great though. They'd come back from jobs, man. He would be talking to the young guys all the time, teaching. He was a real mentor, Mike Higgins. That's how I remember him. And he was.
Had no inkling to go to the truck, maybe, or 108, or
I don't know. I don't know if that was going to happen with 2 years on the job.
Yeah.
So Jerry Murtha calls me and he talks me about the Bronx. And at the time, I don't know if you guys noticed, the transfers were not centralized down at headquarters, by personnel. They were done at the borough level. So there was a woman at the Bronx borough named Carol, and her brother-in-law was Tommy Lochran, the captain of 96 Engine in the band with me.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Hello.
So Gary says, give Carol a call. So I call Carol, right? And meanwhile, I got the list here. I'm looking at the list. I'm going, WRI, all the work runs and, all the busiest companies in the Bronx. And I get Carol on the phone and she starts going down the list. I figured, let me try a truck like you mentioned. And there was really no busy trucks that were open, and I had Jerry on the other ear saying, nah, not busy enough. And then we jump back to engines and boom, she hits 92 engine. I stop. I go, hold on right there. I go, they were number one in the city in all the occupied structural
great
work
house too.
the
Just
year
great
before.
Great house.
And she had openings. So I go, that's the place. And bang, I got transferred there about a month later.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great house. That's probably, like you say, we talk about 120, just the house in general, right? 231, 120, 92, 44. They just have that history, of great places.
Great.
Did you, was George Daly there when you got there?
Yeah, George was in the truck. Yep.
Yeah, he's related to me by marriage.
Chris just texted me today. He said, good luck tonight.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
Johnson in the 13th. He's a lieutenant now.
Yeah.
When did you get there?
I got there in 88.
Oh, all right, because I came on with Foxy.
Yeah, so let me backtrack too. Before I went up there, I put my paper in. Well, first, Carol gave me the okay, that's a good spot and there's an opening. I put my paper in. I drive up there to introduce myself, right? Morris Avenue. I pull up. There's a parking lot next to the firehouse that used to be like an H-type, I guess, that burnt down in the 60s or whatever. Now they took over the lot. I pull up. The battalion chief's out there in his guinea tea. All the guys are out there. They got 5-gallon jerry cans of diesel fuel and 5-gallon jugs of gasoline. They got road flares taped to the end of hooks, 6-foot hooks. And they're glug, 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 glug. They're pouring the diesel down the rat holes in the parking lot along the retaining wall. There's rats everywhere. Pouring diesel in. Then on top of the diesel went the gas. And then they stick the road flare down there. and the middle of Morris Avenue went woof, lifted up. And I'm going, oh man, this is the place for me. These guys.
I found my spot.
Some people would run the other way.
This is it. It took me 3 years, but I found my spot, man.
That's awesome.
That's a great house.
It was great, man.
What about what's that guy? Sal Asciutto, was he there?
Oh, Sal was senior man in the truck. Sally.
He was getting me a spot. He was driving the commissioner.
Sal. Yep.
And I was in 16 truck all the time, and they would break his balls for some reason. They didn't like him there, but I would always go up and make his bed, talk about fires with him. He was going to get me over to 92. And then the squads came up, and I went to the squads, and I had to say to him, hey, Sal, I appreciate it. But he was a great guy, man. Loved to talk about fire.
That was a great guy.
Yeah. I didn't like him because he drove the commissioner. But meanwhile, the guy probably went to more fucking fires than all of them combined.
Oh, yeah. They don't know his background. They just know what they're looking at the cover of the book. They're not reading the book.
Joey Kearney was there too, right? 92, was it?
Jumping Joe Carney came. Yeah, he came after.
Jumping Joe.
I mean,
he was too smart for this job, Joe.
Yeah. My buddies were like Kevin O'Hagan came there as a Proby in 1990. Brian Foxy. I work with Chris Dougherty's now the 17th Battalion Commander. Barney Conroy from Rescue 3. Barney was on the hockey team. Chris Fraser. Todd Belton, these guys were good, man.
Hey, Ruffy, who was the lieutenant we had on? The guy he was a little crazy. He was a cop. He did the
Mike
he was
Finer.
Yes,
Finer.
Was he there?
Yeah, he was there. My bosses were Harry Wanamaker from 40 Truck. My captain was John Gilstrap was my first captain up there from Seneca Avenue and Hunts Point. He was a fireman in the 50s and 60s. McVeigh, Jimmy Duffy, Mike Finer. Bobby Morris was in the truck, lieutenant. Bobby Morris.
Yeah, of course.
Al Hagen, guys know Al Hagen.
Yeah.
He was our lieutenant. And man, we just
that's a great place, man. You must have been like, I found it here.
Dude, I went to more fires in 1 month than I did in a year in 216. I'm being
sure.
honest.
Really?
I mean, this was my tours. I went to like 6 or 8 first to all hands in the first 4 weeks that I was working, never mind the company.
I remember when we got Fox, I think his father was a chief, right? He went to
his dad was Tommy Fox from the 6th Division. Yeah.
When he went there, we were pretty close to Proby school, and I remember him going to 92. And again, I didn't know anything, where people were going, but everybody went to a busy house. DeFranco went to 132. Everybody had a chief. Grasso went to 105. All these guys had, fathers on the job. 147. All these companies. And I remember listening to the radio, and it was 92.75. Like it was just like clockwork all the time. And I remember talking to Fox. I seen him, I think, at the ski races.
Yeah.
And they were going to so much work.
He's great.
I was in the 90s. You know what I mean? I can't imagine in the 80s.
Yeah, it was
70s.
Man. I guess we caught the ass end of the 70s.
I was talking to George Daly's son, Chris, as a Christian.
Chris.
And he was saying to me that work, like the war years for like Brooklyn and everything else, were like the mid 70s, but it didn't get up to like 92 and 44 till closer to the 80s in the beginning of the 80s. Is that true? I
think 92-44 was considered the true South Bronx of the 70s. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it migrated north, and now the work is really
further north than them, right?
Up in the 15th Battalion, right?
32.
Yeah. Pete, pull up some 92 and 44 pictures.
Yeah,
we got a bunch.
I got 92, so let's go with that.
Yeah, that's me there on the back.
We know that guy over there, big head.
That's right.
That was my second captain. Eddie Kilduff became chief of the bar.
He showed that same. Louis calls him Ed. Louis tight like that, but he showed us the same picture when he came on.
Look at our rig. We used to have the covered hose bed, and get under there to pack the hose.
Nice.
It's Jimmy Kitson. He was in the truck, but he was an engine chauffeur. He was driving. That was me. That's a tough guy, Patty McCarville. He ended up as a lieutenant 5 engine. That's Jimmy the Kid Costanza. We used to have the Kid Costanza on the far right. He used to run like the wind, man. We used to bet the locals. They would bring all of their fastest runners from the neighborhood.
Jimmy the Kid.
Yeah, we would be out on Morris Avenue. We would put money up, $100, and they would run from one telephone pole to the next. And they would bring whoever they had from the neighborhood, and they never won. Jimmy the Kid smoked them all the time.
Where is Jimmy the Kid now? Is he still
He's
on
out.
the job?
He got out. Yeah, I think he had some health issues for a young guy. Patty is still working in 5 Engine.
Is that right?
Yeah, and then they got me there.
That's great. Yeah. I
Oh,
forgot Kill Duff was over there, man. Look at that guy.
Ed.
Oh, I forgot. You call him Ed. Yeah.
That's let's see. That was our senior guy on the left, Herbie Galazza. He was on in the 60s and 70s. The General John Matthews kind of ran the company. I remember the day I went there with the Rats, and then I ran into him going upstairs to meet the captain, and he squeezed my biceps, and he goes, "Are you a workout guy?" And he squeezed my arms. He goes, "All right, good, no workout guy." Yeah, all right. Yeah, he was a party. We had a good time. That's Barney Conroy there. See him? He ended up going to 44 and then rest right to my right. And then he went to Rescue 3. He became a captain of a 34 truck. And then he ended up as the chief in the boats at the very end.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit. That's a cool rig there, huh?
Yeah, that's an 86, I think. Mac. You see the old 1-inch booster reel?
The reel.
Yeah, it's in the back. Yep.
Yeah, and you see that silver plate hanging down with the hole in it?
Yeah, what is that?
That's how you cranked up the reel. So you would fold that up, and then you would stick the crank handle through that hole, and then you see the box. You see the box in the back of the rig to the right of the reel? Yeah. You would flip up that thing with the hole in it, stick the crank through that, and then onto the nut, and then you would crank the booster reel back in after a rubbish fire or a car fire.
Look at all the jeans, right? Just jeans.
Yeah.
And roll up
look at the
baby.
Reflection. That's an 86 Mac. See it in
I can see it. Yeah, in the reflection there. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good rig, man. You see the door handles? Dude, I almost fell out of the rig one night. The doors nowadays are like automotive doors, right? They close like a car. That thing was just on a big piano hinge, and it had a quarter-turn latch.
Yeah, I think it was an 86. We had an 88 Max when we got the squad. We had an 88 Max. It's close to that. So.
Then the windows you pulled up with a leather strap. There was just a plexiglass you pulled up, and then it had grommets.
Yeah, right. You would just clip it to the thing, right?
Yeah, you would clip it to hold the window up in the dead of winter. And one day I'm getting dressed on a run, and the stripes on your coat are always ripped, and I'm putting on my coat as we're going to this run, and we're making a hard left, and the stripe catches that door latch, and the friggin' door flies open. I go flying out on the door, holding onto the window. And the guy in the jump seat opposite me jumped up and pulled me back in. No, real.
We talked to guys in the 70s, and they definitely didn't wear masks. Did you guys always wear masks, or was it hit and miss? Some guys,
I mean, when I was in 1 Engine, I got a cheetah, and,
allegedly.
Actually, I got rid of it though when I was in 44 truck one day. I used it, and I got thrashed with some superheated air in my face and up my nose. And that was the end of the cheetah for me, anyway. Right, but you guys all wore you all wore masks. Yeah, right? I wore my mask. You would kind of tough it out as much as you could, and then you wear it though if you needed it. Yeah, it wasn't like you weren't wearing it at all. Right. So you got any other good before we go to 44? You got any other good fire stories from 92? Oh. That's my boy Kevin O'Hagen on my left. Didn't he have like 4 brothers or something? That guy. Yeah, they had 5 boys on the job. I remember those guys. Chief. Yeah, you had Kevin in 92. You had Tommy in 50 Engine. You had John Jr. in 43 Engine. You had Joe in 27 truck, and you had Steve was one of my firemen when I was captain of 80 Engine in Harlem. 5 sons. I remember that was one of the biggest families on the job with. Kids.
Tell us about this picture because this is kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah, that was right behind the firehouse. That's Grand incredible. Avenue, right behind the firehouse. It's a vacant. The whole street is vacant. There's no buildings left, and that was like the homeless guy made this shack. Man, that's a multi-unit drill. One day we used to go there on Sunday mornings and pump some water and mess around with the rigs. And I don't know.
It's like you had a tough night.
Yeah, look at him. He's got a barbecue. Look at a barbecue grill he's got.
He's got it all right. He's got a car seat to hang out.
Look at the ADV seat for his guests.
Yeah, his guests.
Yeah.
Well, if that shanty goes on fire, you have like 17 guys on the roof cutting that, so you don't have to worry about that.
Let me tell you, that was a tough neighborhood in the 80s. So right behind the firehouse one night, you see cop cars. I mean, right there in front of that shack, I had a cabbie take 2 in the back of the head one night. you know, they tell us guys like in country for 2 weeks from Africa driving a livery cab. They tell him make a left on Grant. He don't know. He turns. There's not a building on the block, and then next thing he knows, he's done. Boom, boom. And
are those buildings? Are there buildings there now?
There is. They rebuilt that whole block.
Wow,
it's unreal.
But like we see pictures of that. We talked to other guys. They're like, it was like something out of a science fiction movie. Like everything was lots everywhere, man. Burnt out buildings and lots everywhere.
Piles of bricks and. Yeah, that's a typical look there.
Tell us one more before we move on to 44. What's this?
Oh, that look. All right. So, oh man. So, do you got the Santa picture?
I do.
So my aide, Drew Hagen. Drew Hagen was a buddy of mine from 44 Truck. Alex's was our lieutenant, was his brother. So he had two brothers working in the same company. That's kind of unheard of, right?
Yeah.
So Drew used to play Santa every year for the kids' party, and one year he couldn't do it, so I do it, right? That was us getting tuned up in the company office beforehand.
Oh no,
you know, getting a little juiced up, getting ready for the kids, slide the pole. So we got this open pole hole, and we used to build this chimney around it with this brick plywood paneling, right? So that was a reenactment of what happened. So you see so what happened was I'm Santa. I slide down the pole and I come out of the chimney opening, and the kids are happy, and they sit on give them the gifts, sitting on my lap, and we're singing songs. Now Santa's gonna leave, right? I got the personal harness on under my Santa pants. The guys upstairs in the bunk room, they dropped the rope down. So I waved goodbye to the kids, right? I waved goodbye. I duck in the chimney opening, and my back is to the kids, and I snap the rope onto the personal harness. Now, I turn around to wave goodbye one more time, and I duck out under the chimney opening.
They pull you up.
They yank me up. So I'm going up, and my head is caught on the outside of the chimney. Right?
Kids are screaming.
The bead goes over my face. The kids are screaming. The chimney collapses. The brick paneling goes out into the crowd. Guys grab the paneling. The kids are screaming. They're killing Santa. They yank me up. They get me to the bottom of the pole hole, the underside of the apparatus ceiling, and they're slamming me off the underside of the ceiling. And they finally get me up through the hole. The kids.
But you didn't even feel it. You didn't even feel it, though.
Do you know how many? I was just going to say. Do you know how many times we're getting the guy upstairs dressed right for the kids? Right. I mean, it's just the same story, right? Everybody's drinking, right? Yeah. And I'm always like, listen, be careful going down the pole. What happens? The guy, you know, he's got the gloves on and everything's soft and cushy. Yeah, he fucking
bam,
shoots out the bottom of the pole hole. All the kids are like, "Oh my god!" You know, like
we had him screaming. We had him screaming good that day.
That is so funny.
So
I'll never forget that one.
Another thing, we used to have the school kids come to the firehouse, right? You guys all had that, and it's local school, and they bring the kids, and we had this guy, Big Al Sawara. We had two guys, the Twin Towers in 92 engine. They were both like 6'9". It was unbelievable. Like when Al backed me up, I used to sit on his knee, and he used to slide me with the fire. I'd have the nozzle sitting on his knee. Unreal. But so we get these kids, the school kids would come in, and usually they were like 6 or 7. And we used to do this thing with the CPR mannequin, right? So now one day we get the younger kids, they're like 3 and 4. And so everybody look at the pole hole. Here comes Fireman Jim. And I would slide the pole. And they'd be, hey, clapping. And then watch again. Here comes Fireman Bob. And we had the fucking CPR mannequin dressed in the work duty shit. Drop this thing head first down the pole hole. This thing slammed on the floor. It was like this. And the kids start screaming. And the teacher looks at Big Al. She goes, you guys are fucking assholes.
Now I know why they've been getting rid of the poles at most of these firehouses.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
We used to have a laugh.
Cheese Man saying Big Al, the kiddy's pal. What is that?
Big Al. Oh, the Cheese Man, the barber.
Yes,
barber.
Not
beautician.
Not
hairdresser.
Yeah, and tell him His chair is still in 92 engines in the 44 in the truck sitting room. Tell him.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I called the guys. They say it's still there. I remember. I think it was red with silver specks, like from the 70s.
He was a hairdresser.
It was Frio haircuts, the cheese man.
When the cheese came on, I said, he says, yeah, I was a hairdresser. I'm like, no, you mean a barber? He goes, no, a hairdresser. I'm like, what are you talking about?
And a grappler. Hairdresser and a grappler.
Yeah, slash
Used to
grappler.
take care of bouffants like mine, man.
I wish I had that.
Cheese is a strong man.
Yeah,
Mhm.
He's not fooling around.
He was good. Yeah, he left us a little early there. He had to go out to Queens, but good man. We had some
The cheese.
dude. We had a lot of laughs. We had some. I'll tell you, man. What a great firehouse. We had work. We had great brotherhood. We had parties, man. We had this guy Joe Mahoney in a truck. He would run the parties, dude. There was 6 months in preparation. You would get. It was like a play. You had outfits, costumes. You had lines. You had to memorize. We used to go to we used to have sites. We'd have parties for, like Jack Schneider was our battalion commander. We had his retirement party in the Bronx Criminal Courthouse. We got a courtroom, and we had a trial in the courtroom.
What?
I was on the
my!
Somebody else told us about that they had like a trial in the courtroom.
yeah, I was on the jury. We were convicts with black and white striped like a chain gang, and we were the jury.
You had to
and
get
it was,
dressed and learn your lines.
Cruelty to animals, and the division commander Joe DiBernardo was there testifying.
Oh, he's the one who told us.
Yeah, he was the one who
He
brought
was
that up.
awesome.
He was the one.
Yeah, the division commander at these rackets with his costume on, dressed as a cow, testifying to animal cruelty against Jack Schneider.
As a cow. Yeah,
Then we
you had to
sentenced them to
memorize.
death by hanging, and then we took them up to the Morris Yacht Club. We had a gallows set up with sod all over the floor, the dance floor.
Jeez.
Crazy.
Cheeseman said, ask him about the canoe trips to the Delaware Water Gap.
Oh, I wasn't on that one. That was where they jumped off the canoes and they were stealing some guy's laundry off his line, some sheets or some shit. Like I came out with a shotgun, and let a round go in the air or something. That was Frazier and Dougherty and Conroy.
People wouldn't believe half the shit that goes on, man. They really wouldn't. It's crazy.
Then you know who else came up there and transferred up there around like a year before I got promoted? Liam Flaherty transferred up from.
That's right.
44. That's right.
And then he joined the band. So there was 3 of us in the band then in 92. It was me first. And then Kevin O'Hagan got on in 90s. It's, I think, same as Foxy. When did you get on, Louis?
93.
Okay, so Foxy was 93, but right, because he was a Proby right when I was leaving. And Kevin O'Hagan, and then Liam came up and he joined the band. Liam was funny too, man.
And now he's the head muckety muck.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tied when he was at Rescue 4, he tied our Christmas tree to the back of our rig.
And when you took off,
tree went out with it.
yeah, we used to light the tree up every year. We used to light it, blow out all the lights on the apparatus floor, and then we would redecorate it with.
Yeah. We had a thing on top of the firehouse. It was a huge. Remember that roof? A sign that had bulbs that said "Happy Holiday Squad 288."
Hazmat 1.
Yeah, and they changed the bulbs so it said Squad 000.
They had to rappel. You had to rappel off of the roof to do that, or get the ladder. I forget. It was on the side of that firehouse.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, my face hurts.
All right. So what makes you go to 44? You want to get a little truck work? Or?
Okay, so I take the lieutenant's. So I mentioned about studying, and Al Hagen was the catalyst for that. He was a lieutenant in 44 truck, and he started in '87. We started the Brain Dead Study Group. That was his name, and all the guys from the house. We got to the books and we got into it. And Al was a big proponent of that. He was the reason. And the test came in what year? 92. And I nailed the test. I did really good. And then the next day after the test scores came out, Jack McElroy was our battalion commander. Great man. He was a 30 truck guy and a Rescue 2 guy in the 60s. The chiefs up there were unbelievable, like role models. And he came to me, he said, "You're going to the truck starting now. You're not doing anyone any good in the engine anymore." Wow. Which I thought was pretty nice. I didn't solicit it. He came to me. You remember things like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. People, when you're in a position later on in your career to help people.
Yeah.
You do so.
Reciprocate.
You pay it forward. Yeah, I always paid it forward. I mean, because I've had multiple stories like that. Like Pete Gansey helped me get on the job. I don't know if I mentioned that, but you had the Proby medical, and I had some worries with my eyes, and he made a few calls, and everything was smooth. So you get help like that along the way. Chief McElroy, right? Nick Mancuso, the union president, transferred me to 216. Right, guys, just doing things for people. They don't have to do it, but they do it. Isn't that that's the beauty of this job, right? Stepping up.
Were you going to go to the truck anyway, even if you didn't? Was that
I had in for the truck, but I'm waiting. I got now it's 8. What year was it? It was about
93.
93. So now I got 8 years on the job. I'm still waiting to cross the floor. Take that long to cross the floor, to get guys waiting to go in front of you. So and then like you'd get guys from out of the house would pop in with some juice and kind of push you back.
Like that guy Cooley would come in there and try and get in there.
Hey!
Oh, look at Ruffy getting one in there, Cooley.
He came in a little like unsure. That Cooley would come
Cooley.
in.
Winthrup's in the chat too. He was a 92 guy, wasn't he? A 44. Dave.
What's his name?
He was probably after you. He's a bop.
Yeah, I think after me. So then I crossed the floor on an onion skin to 44 for the rest of my time there, till I got promoted in the next year in 94. And that was good. I mean, I had like Mike Finer was my lieutenant, Al Hagen. No, I think Al was already promoted to captain. Mike Fitzgerald I had there. Remember Mike? Mike. Mike. No, Mike. You don't know Mike Fitzgerald. Mike Fitzgerald. And then who'd you have on the show? I had brought over to SOC as a lieutenant when I was the chief of SOC. You don't remember?
No. From 44?
Yeah, I'm blanking out. But anyway. Those
Everett.
guys, Mike Everett.
Mike Everett.
Yeah. And they were my bosses. And so they would put me up in the front seat and knowing that I'm going to get made. And they would take the can and I would ride up in the front seat as the boss. And that's how they mentored you into that role. They're great guys, to do that and, take the chance. You know what I mean? Like,
Did you guys work mutuals or anything across the floor? So had you worked in 44 already?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We worked mutuals. There was no strict policy on that. I mean, usually I had your set 24 partner in the engine, but you're always working across the floor here and there.
Right.
And then, so I got over there in 93. I did a little less than a year there, and then I got promoted. And sad day. Bittersweet.
I'm sure, man. To leave a place like that.
Beautiful belt buckle, a 92 engine, because that's where I got made at, a belt buckle. John Matthews, the same guy that squeezed my arms when I got there, make sure I wasn't a musclehead. He's the guy that gave me my belt buckle the day I left.
Some characters on the job.
And I still wear that belt, 92 engine. And it had the lieutenant's trumpet,
Yeah. Nice.
Well, and I had tears in my eyes. I really did, man. It was tough leaving.
That's
where I really.
So back to Brooklyn you go. You get promoted, lieutenant, and you go back to Brooklyn,
right?
To Division 12.
Yeah. Well, first I go to Flips.
Oh, okay, right.
Cool. And I go to Flips and I carpool. You always hook up a carpool. I carpooled with Tommy Haskell. We know Tommy. We lost Tommy on 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And Matty Nelson still on the job with 30 going on 38 years. Ray Bressingham you had on the show.
Oh, we had him. Yeah.
And Whitey Manane, Jerry Manane worked with Ray over in 107, I believe. And that was my carpool to Flips, officer school. And I went to Flips with John Calamari you had on the show, and Jimmy Ginty.
The Squid.
Pete Duran. I met a lot of good guys, from different firehouses. And that was it's like 4 weeks. You go there and you learn to be a boss a little bit.
You pull would you have to pull something, the Monopoly thing out of the can, right? Did you have to do that back then?
Yeah. So you got to give a drill. They teach you got to give a drill to the men. So you pull a thing out, and that was public speaking. Right?
Yeah, public speaking. You had
public speaking was a coffee can with different Monopoly things, and you pull the little the terrier dog out of there, and then right there on the spot, you got to feel on terrier dogs, and make it sound convincing.
I remember that.
But the other thing was a drill. You had to actually give a drill on a topic. Guys were giving it on changing babies' diapers and all different shit, but you had to just give a drill on something.
I did it.
What did you give a drill on?
I don't know if it was changing a diaper. I think that's what it was because I had the two boys at the time.
Ah.
Joe was born in 90, James in 92. Jake was yet to come.
That's so freaking funny. You remember that?
Yeah.
My wife had a big set of. My wife had a big set. She was a hygienist, so she had like
Big
the
set
big
of what?
mouth, the big teeth.
Oh, all right.
And
Teeth.
I did. I showed you how to floss the teeth.
That's what you gave the drill on?
Yeah, flossing teeth.
Yeah. So that was flips. That was cool, you know.
So now, did you want to go back to Brooklyn, or they just sent you back to Brooklyn?
No, I just got assigned to the 12th. I didn't put in for anything, and I got assigned to the 12th Division, which is now defunct. But
yeah, not
used to be that whole south side of Brooklyn.
Right.
You know?
And
I went there with Jimmy Ginty Jr. and Pete Duran. Jimmy was from 59 Truck, and Pete was from 73 Engine. The three of us from the Bronx went to Brooklyn. And,
now, did you bounce? Because it says, looks like in 94, you got to sign.
I'll tell you what.
So
I get out of flips on a Friday. My first Saturday, the next day, I'm not even effective until Monday. And the next day after flips, I worked 24 overtime. That's how short they were on lieutenants. And I caught two jobs. I worked a day tour in 156 on the highway. I caught a job. And that night I worked in 240 Engine, and I caught a job with, ironically, 249 was first due, where I would end up about a year later.
Whole family's rats.
So my first 24 out of flips, I'm given a 1075 and 156 truck. We were first due.
Nice, get it out of the way.
Yeah, get it out of the way.
Were you comfortable being a boss at that point? Were you?
That takes time. That takes time to develop because you're still whatever rank you move up to. I found you're always kind of stuck in that past rank, and you kind of act that role still. So you're still a fireman, even though you're a lieutenant for day one. You still got fireman in your bones, you know.
Right. How long did it take before you felt comfortable in the lieutenant's role?
It takes a bunch of experiences. You know what I mean? I think.
I was going to say that. I would
say
1 year.
Whether it's fires, whether it's incidents in the firehouse with the guys, management type things. It takes a little time to develop into where you feel comfortable doing what you got to do. Anything. Right. Doing what you not only on the fire ground.
Right.
And I think was the least of the troubles, to be honest.
Right.
Least of the learning curve. It was in the firehouse, and when you had to learn to be the boss at times, that takes time.
Right. I guess you got to get comfortable telling guys what to do because
it's not that easy. It's not that easy, and nobody likes conflict, and everyone wants to be liked, right? I mean, it's kind of human nature.
Yep.
It develops. It comes. So I went down to the 12th Division, and my boys Ginty and Duran bailed out on me. They were hooked up. Duran was in 73 Engine with what's his name? The Union leader was from Von Essen.
Von Essen.
And Ginty's dad was the senior guy in the bagpipe band. They were out of there in 3 months. Bang. And so now I'm there, and I'm like, oh shit. So I got assigned to the 3-3R group. That was my first spot. And you know what the R group is?
Yeah.
The R group is where there's an opening in the company where no company officer is assigned, and you rotate between houses. So I would work in the highway, 276 and 156. I would do day tour, then night tour. Then you move to the next house. Right.
So it's like bouncing, but you know where you're going.
You're in the same, right.
It's actually a great gig. If you like the houses, it's a great gig.
Yeah, I'm in the same 3 firehouses. You know where you are. You're basically straight tours, though. There's no 24s. But you know where you work, and you get to know the guys, and it's pretty cool. And most guys, don't want to do it because of the straight tours, but I took it. They asked me to do it. I did it. So I'm in the Friendly Firehouse, I'm in the Highway, and I'm in Avenue U. About 6 months goes by, and the aide calls me, and he tells me, you're out of the 3-3R group. And he's going, kind of bullshit, because usually if you take the R group, it's yours until you ask out. I go, how come? They go, well, there's a female lieutenant just got promoted, Rocky Jones, and she's getting a spot there. I go, all right. So what do you want to do? I go, well, I had worked down in Coney Island. I go, what's happening down there? Can I get in there? 161 UFO? He goes, yeah, all right, done deal. So that's how I got over there to 161 truck.
They get you a little work over there.
Yeah, it was decent. So before I leave the 3-3R group, which is maybe a week or two later, when I got to the division and I got the R group, the 8 is on the phone from the 12th division, and he's explaining what I just said about the rotation between companies. And the deputy takes the phone out of his hand and he goes, "Who is this?" I go, "New Lieutenant Daly." He goes, "You got to know this stuff, the R group." He starts berating me. And I'm like, I was a fireman yesterday. Like, I don't know. Right? So now, 6 months later, they give the R group to Rocky Jones, and I'm leaving. And I remember back in the day, to make a phone call, you can go into the battalion office because they had the only phone in the firehouse that made outside calls.
Yeah.
So the chief was just Stormin' Norman Whalen was the chief in the 3-3. Flat top, real squared away military guy. He's out on a run. So I'm going to go in the office. I don't know how to call my wife or something. I look in the typewriter, and there's a letter, and it's half typed that he was typing. It says, "Dear Lieutenant Jones, just want to take time to welcome you to the 3-3R group. And this is how it works." And I'm going,
You son of a bitch.
I asked what it was. I got yelled at.
Yeah, that's a you dick, Pete, right there. You dick.
I lift the bail. It was like the arm on the typewriter. I lift it up, and the fucking letter shoots out of the typewriter.
Oh, shit.
He's in mid-sentence, and he's out on the line. I go, "Holy shit." I feed the letter back in. I roll it around. I hit the feed button, and the letter gets crumpled up on the bailing wall. Crumpled to shit. I take this thing out. I got the piece of paper. I got it on the edge of the desk. I'm straightening out all the wrinkles. I feed it back into the typewriter. I just leave it wherever it is, and I slink out of there, man.
You can't even make that story up.
No, man.
Oh my God, that is fucking awesome. Oh my God, that is so freaking. What do they call it? The career dissipation light was like blinking in overtime. Overdrive.
Yeah, I'm waiting for him to walk in the door as I'm doing this. I made it out of there. So then I go down to Coney Island, 161, man, and it was pretty cool. I was there for a year, man. It was good guys, different animals than what I was used to in the ghetto areas, and even though it is its own ghetto, got all
it is a little bit ghetto-ish, yeah.
But just different. Down on the beach, first time experience with pull boxes, going 2 and 2 to a pull box. Never had a pull box, and. It was great, man. Like during the summer, we go on BI. I take the guys on a Cyclone, on a roller coaster. We're in the front.
Get a couple of Nathan dogs.
Yeah, you're heading up the roller coaster. Tick, 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 tick. I got the Proby in the rig, listening to the radio. And then I'm saying, "Geez, I never thought if I get a run, what are we gonna do? We're on this thing for the next 5 minutes."
And this man was this close to being chief of department.
Yeah. And then we used to go to the. We used to go to the freak shows, the dollar freak shows, the smallest woman in the world. And then you'd come
Tiny
around
Tina.
And there was a woman. She was like 2 feet tall, and it was a real woman. And
I'm telling you, I went to one in the Meadowlands one time, and it scarred my kids for life. You go around the corner, and there's literally a woman this big sitting in a chair. Tiny Tina.
She was sitting there. She was knitting something, and we're looking at her, walking at her. And now I feel like an asshole. $1 to sit here and gawk at this poor woman. But anyway, that was Coney Island, man. It was crazy down there, And that picture there.
I don't even know what this is. This is the guy who lifted me.
Hey, we haven't got
we'll get to that.
Don't get
Ruffy's preempting.
Louis, you'll learn. I'm multifaceted, bro.
I see that. He's like a Renaissance man, bro.
All right, so that was a job we had. That was a good job. We were second due to 169 over in Brighton Beach area, and we catch a good job. 2 trucks get in, and the engines get a wrong address or something. We got no engines and 2 trucks. We got a roaring job in the cellar, and we got a father and a son trapped in a cellar. So we go in that side door there, right over the guy's head there. That was my chauffeur on the far right. And we, that side entrance, we go down the stairs. 169, as I'm pulling up, 169's officer gives a 1045 in the cellar in the front room. So me and my inside team work our way down there. That was over my right shoulder to my left in the picture. That's Tommy Geiger. He was my irons man. You see the guy on my left? That's Jimmy Kennelly. Great guy. Charlie Noseworthy. And that lieutenant.
Where is Jimmy Kennelly?
Jimmy Kennelly is to my left, to your right in the picture.
He went to 16 truck, right?
Yeah, and a big high-rise developer.
Yes,
building high-rise buildings. Great guy.
Big. Yeah, he was what a great fireman too, man.
Dude, great fireman, great guy. The guy to his left is Charlie Noseworthy. He became a boss. Great guy. So we get down the basement, and the guy from 169, the officer's coming out of the front room. The fire's roaring in the rear, and we got the two can men holding it back to the rear. And the guy comes out of the front room with a kid in his arms, and right in front of me, it was like a Collier's, though. There was like a little aisle between all the debris. Was this guy laying there, the father. And me and Tommy Geiger, we flipped him around and got him up out of the. You ever get a guy up out of a cellar?
Yeah, that's so much fun.
Oh my God. It was Tommy, you had the arms, he was going up first, and I straddled the guy and just put my hand into his pants. And we just humped him step by step, And that was a good job. That's
you right there, second from the left?
No, that's me right dead in the middle with the hand light.
Oh, I was gonna say, dude, because
who's the boss there? Who's the boss there?
Bro.
Pete, that's me. That's the engine boss, Tommy O'Connor.
I was gonna say you went through many different transformations of the hair there, man. Because
that's me there with the helmet on. You can't even see my hair.
No, I'm saying I thought that was you because he's got the lieutenant shirt on.
That's me with the harness and the hand light.
In the engine.
I was in the truck. Yeah, the other guy was in the engine.
Nice.
So that was that job.
Tell us about this crazy job.
Oh man, that was a good one. That was
We'll go back to that picture in a minute, but
that was Coney Island Creek. So we had a car full of Russians, a livery cab. I guess they were boozing on the vodka there. And they turned into this Con Ed parking lot doing about 50 miles an hour, and they drove straight off the end of the lot. If you go to the next picture, you see there's no guardrail. And this guy flew off of that dirt embankment doing about 50 and went out into the water. They flipped end over end and sank.
Wow.
So it was right at like 6 o'clock at night. We were lined up for roll call, and we get to run, car in the water. So we get in there first due. The engine is my buddy. Mike Lee is the lieutenant. And they get in the parking lot first, and he jumps out and he dives right in the water. And then we pull up behind him, and me and Jimmy Kennelly and all of my guys, we dive in the water. We swim out. Car's about maybe about 20 yards out in the canal, and it sunk upside down. All you saw was the tip of one tire sticking out of the water.
Smokes.
Just the tip of a tire upside down, the round part of a tire. So as I get out there, swimming out there, Mike Lee got out first, the engine officer. I see him go under as I'm about 10 yards away. As I get to him, he was able to yank the door open underwater. And as I get over to him, I see him coming up out of this murky water, his face with this guy's
Holy
face.
Shit.
Yeah, so I'm like, holy shit. So I grab the guy from Mike and I swim him in, right? And I get back. At the time, this tide is in a little in this picture. So that embankment was down about another 6 or 8 feet.
Were you touching the ground or no?
No, not at the car. You were barely, it was about 6 feet deep where the car was.
That ain't no joke, man.
So we start like swimming, wading in, and we get back to the shore, and the guys were down that embankment like hand to hand because that water was another 6 feet down, and hand off that guy, and then my irons man now gets out to the car and he goes in the back seat. So now I get back out to the car and here comes Mike coming out with another guy, a woman.
Shit, dude.
So I grabbed the woman and I'm heading in. And then the other guys jumped in from the truck and the engine. And we got 5 people out of that car.
Five people? They all live?
So we get them up on shore. Look at closely in the picture. You see all the BVMs and the rubber gloves.
Yeah.
You see the bags, the BVMs behind the car.
Yep.
Right? We would do it. It was a CPR clinic, man. The guys, we had all 5 of them. They were all in cardiac arrest. They were all drowned. And just like in the movies, man, the first guy we got out was the driver. Within a minute, so there was cops standing. I'll never forget. There was cops standing there. They didn't even jump in the water. And they're going, it's forget it, man. It's over. I go, hey, bro, back off if you ain't going to help. Because I knew from it being in the volleys as a kid, I was an EMT and then I was a paramedic. When someone drowns, that's the heart only stopped due to lack of oxygen from not breathing. It's not damaged. So we did CPR. Boom. The first guy, the driver, like right out of the movies. Starts gurgling and
Come
breathing.
on.
Dude, and then right in a circle, all 5 of them. We revived all of them.
Holy shit.
The next one starts breathing. You had to see all, and 318 and 166 was helping us, and we were 245 and 161. You had to see the guys. They were crying. They were so emotional afterwards. We revived all 5 of them. We get them to the hospital. The old guy, there was 2 80-year-olds, a couple. And you know what's weird? I remember their names to this day. Arkady Seufer, Gennady Vugman. It's weird how I remember their names. But we revived all 5 of them. The 2 80-year-olds, the one died that night because they also had trauma from the accident.
Yeah, the 80.
Yeah, the 80-year-old died that night. The wife died 2 weeks later, but the 3 50-year-old guys all walked out of the hospital.
Holy shit.
It's pretty cool.
Dude, that guy did some job. That guy, Mike. Like, I mean,
yeah,
just
get that door open.
Yeah, Mike Lee. He got a medal. Mike got a medal. He was the only one, and we got units. The rest of us, it was nice. We went to City Hall and
did you grow another ear the next month from that water?
Oh, well, yeah. We had to go to
shot.
We had to go to Coney Island Hospital. We all got. You know what happened? I kicked my boots off. We didn't have bunker gear back then. I kicked off the rubber boots, thinking it'd be easier to swim out there. And we all cut our feet on glass and shit. We all had to get shot. We had to go to Coney Island Hospital and get a load of shots in the ass that night.
The fuck is that?
Yeah, that's legit, man. That's
it was cool. It was cool. We went to City Hall. We met Giuliani in the Blue Room, and it was good. It was good for the guys. Good for the morale.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's a legit freaking thing, man. Holy mackerel.
Yeah, legit. Too legit to quit. All right, so 95.
So, 95.
You go to Crown Heights.
Well, what happens is, again, it's my inner wanting to be in the busiest companies in the city, from back when I was 13 years old. And Pete Gannon was a buddy of mine in the band, and he was a captain of 249 and up with the Rats on 113 up on Rogers Avenue. And he calls me up. He's got 3 lieutenant openings. All 3 lieutenants had left, either got promoted or retired. So he's got 3 openings on the one order. He calls me up. He goes, Jimmy, you can come up here, man. This is, we're rocking up here, and I could use guys. So I put in, me and Mike Lee from the engine puts in, and we both get it. And the third guy is Kevin Sullivan, who I meet when we get there. He came out at 226 as a lieutenant. He was a fireman in 138 back in the day, and he was initially a lieutenant 226, and now he came to 249, and that's how that happened.
That's a great spot, man. You probably work there on that.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great move. It was like going to 92 engine again. I get to 240. I mean, Coney Island was good, and we caught some work, but I go to 249, man. We're rocking it, like going back to 92 engine. That was one of the top companies in the job as far as work. You're right.
That's probably the only place that was dirtier than Sheffield Avenue, maybe.
Oh, it was a shithole. The firehouse was wrecked.
Were you eating on the fucking ping pong table?
Yeah, before my time there, they had the circles painted on the table. It was like they used to drop the food on the table. That was before.
Crazy.
I caught the ass end of that. I mean, there was no ceiling tiles in the ceiling. All the plaster in the kitchen walls was ripped out. You'd see the wire lath, and they had ropes and strings all through the kitchen, hooked up to boxes of flour. No matter where you walked, someone would be over in this corner, pull a string, and you'd get nailed with a box of flour. You had guys in the bathroom in the next room over. They had a string for the bathroom. All of a sudden, they'd have a covering office in there taking a leak. They'd pull a string. You'd hear, oh, he gets sick.
I think I told the story. I worked on a detail there, and when I got there, they had on the wall, there was 10 or 15 clocks, and it was like nut house time. Like they took when they got relocated, they took the clock from the nut house.
They always
Sheffield Avenue, right? They took all the stuff from from all the places. And I think that night, I think I told the story, like no exaggeration. We were working there, running around, probably like 10 old timers, 70s, 80s, show up at the firehouse.
For a card
and they're just playing cards.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
like, Holy shit! Like it was like an awesome thing. I don't know if they do that regularly. I thought.
Oh,
it was
that was a card playing house. You had
Was
the
it?
captain on 174 truck transferred to be the captain 249 for the action to play
What?
cards.
Wow.
That's
No, it was
legit.
legit.
That's
Yeah,
a legit
yeah,
play.
I mean, so the place was a shithole, but the work was out of hand. It was great. And the guys were phenomenal. I worked with, like I said, Kevin Sullivan, Mike Lee, Pete Gannon, and myself. The truck was, God rest his soul, Jimmy Savastano was the captain. You had Tommy Cruiser, who spent 28 years there as a lieutenant. Pete Frontera, who was a lieutenant and a captain there. And Ray Brown from Rescue One. He got nailed on 9/11. He almost got killed. And that was the end of his career. I mean, the firemen were like my buddy Bobby Pino, who I hunt with, Mike Manza, Triple M, Bobby Bohack. You know him, the chief? Bohack.
Oh, name. Yeah, I know that name. Yeah, I know
Great
that
guy.
name.
He was from the famous Bohack family.
I was going to ask you. Yeah,
He
back
was.
in the day, the
Yeah.
Bohack.
Jocko Spillane. And then we had Jackie Hunter. You got that picture of Hunter?
I'm not sure actually because we didn't label it Hunter.
Oh, 249. Go 249. We'll see if we got it.
All right, hold on a sec. Here we go.
Well, that was just a picture of my crew there. That's me. To my right is John Baldessari, who's my chauffeur, Howie Waltzer, Charlie Tozo, big card player, Tommy Guild. And then there's another one there. Let's see. Yeah, 249 tree. There we go. So that on the left is Tommy Cruiser from 113. He did almost 25, 30 years in the truck. Kevin Sullivan, me, and Mike Lee. We were the three lieutenants, and that's our boy Hunter. Yeah, Jackie.
Wow.
Good man. You know who Hunter is? You guys know Hunter?
No, is he a buff?
You know Hunter?
No.
Yeah, he's our buff in the rat house, man.
Oh,
Hunter
probably know
worked
that.
one night before I got there. He was working. He was in the rig. Bobby Glynn was the lieutenant. He ended up as a chief down in the 4-3. Hunter's in a rig. They jump out of the rig at a job. They leave Hunter in the rig. He picks up the radio. He calls 249 of Brooklyn. He begins to transmit every sentence saying he ever heard. 1075, all hands doubtful. Probably will hold. Signal alarm.
Extra engine and truck.
Extra engine and truck. Whatever he heard, he banged out in one transmission.
Oh my God.
Did he know where every box was?
He knew everything. He used to. Well, Chris Murdoch. He lived in Brooklyn, Hunter, with his mom. Chris
Holy
Murdoch, from
shit.
249 in Midwood, Brooklyn. He used to pick him up and bring him in. He used to on the tours with us. One tour, we get a vacant now. I get a vacant frame in rubbish in the front of the building. I give Hunter the nozzle. Hunter knocks the fire down. Now, Eddie Kilduff, who was my captain, now I'm reunited with him. He's the chief in the 3-8, and I'm in 249. We had a big medal ceremony for Hunter. He gave him the Mo Ginsburg Award to Hunter. Eddie Kilduff comes. He holds a roll call, and he gives Hunter the medal. That's the medal he's wearing. He's still
Yeah, I
wearing
saw the medal on him. I saw the medal on him.
It's 30 years later, whatever. He's still wearing the medal. And every time he called, I got voicemails recorded on my phone. I'll never erase them. I got like 10 of them. Daly, my man. Daly, you're my man. Remember when I got the Mo Ginsburg? I did a good job for you that night.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he calls me all the time. His mom passed
still?
away. He lives alone now, but he's self-sufficient. His sister lives down the block.
You know what's amazing to me? You just told us the story that how you gave that guy the nozzle, right? And let him knock down the fire. But then there was the other guy who's, I think it was engine one when you went there, that he wouldn't give you the nozzle. I don't have time to give the nozzle.
That was my captain. Yeah. 16. Yeah.
So here you are giving the nozzle to this guy, you know, to be a good, you know, allegedly to be a good dude. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable.
And he got the Mo Ginsburg.
And he got the Mo Ginsburg for it.
Yeah, Hunter, he's great.
People will cut off the pinky toe for the Ginsburg.
How come How come Ed never mentioned the Mo Ginsburg?
Oh, Ed.
He might have.
I guess he forgot about it. I didn't forget.
Oh my God!
We had a nice roll call in quarters. He came with the medal. He came with a plaque for Jackie Hunter. Bro. Jackie Hunter was through the roof, man.
Does he still buff out over there?
Yeah, I think he still goes there, and then he comes to all of our reunions and stuff. And he came to my retirement party. You'll see a picture later.
Could you imagine the dispatcher if he was on like the chief was saying, like just rolling through like all this stuff? We're using 2 and 2 and the rest fast. You know, like 1075 the box. Give me a 1026 food on the stove. Like if he was running through all the shit, the guy must have been like, "What the fuck?"
The dispatcher said, "What? is going
Yeah.
on?
Oh my God, that is too funny, man. Oh,
Yeah, Hunter, he's great, man.
my face.
You gotta have him on the show one night, bro. We'll get Hunter
Yeah,
on.
I should have
I
brought
hope
him
he there.
with me as my
I hope he there.
sidekick.
But just he's a Robin to your Batman.
Yeah, he's great.
Holy-
I love
But
Hunter.
you were there for quite a while, man. You were
Yeah,
there
I
for
did.
4 years.
I got there. I was there from 95 to 99. And
And you had to go and get promoted, leaving another
Yeah.
place. It looked like you're leaving great places every time.
well,
you get
before I
promoted.
left there, let me hit you up with
All right.
we had a year and a half. Our quarters was getting renovated. Then the shithole was getting renovated finally, and we did a year and a half up with 280 and 132 with guys like Greg Bacconi and
Oh, we had him on. Yeah.
John Vigiano Jr., my buddy Andy DiPadova. What a ball we had. I mean, we went down to about 10 first two boxes, but we busted 235's balls. The guys would call them on the phone and beat the drum and 2492. We kind of stole some of their boxes. And we just had a ball, man. We had the best.
Where did 113 go?
They went down with 248, and they had the biggest work friggin' time in a year and a half. They stole, they took boxes from 157 and 174.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They rocked that year. That year and a half. They were killing it. And we were like a hose tender for 280 for a year and a half.
Playing the drums.
Yeah, just
Yeah, we had a good time.
we had a great time, man. We had a great time.
Was Dan Marino there when you were there?
Danny was in the truck.
I'm trying to get him on the show. He won't come on. He lives
He's
right by
great,
me.
man. We have a 3-8 reunion every year. Good time. The three houses. 280.
Yeah. Well, push him over to the
34,
show. I see him in the
122.
fruit market all the time. He don't want to come on.
He's great, Danny. I don't know if I saw him this year at the reunion. It was in over on Knapp Street at one of those clam houses right off the Bell Parkway. It's a good time though.
Yeah.
But great house, great time. I got a picture there. You see with my family in 249. That was a nice one.
Hold on a sec. Is it? That's not the Metal Day one, is it?
Yeah, that one there. That's a good one.
Okay. I got you.
There's my wife, my three boys who are all on a job, but there's my crew, the Rats. That was a job. I was working in 132 truck for the captain, Mike Rogers, when we were in quarters with him.
Yeah.
He needed a mutual off on a Sunday day tour.
Always works like that.
It was a quiet day, nothing going on. At like 4 PM, we catch a job on Bergen and Underhill. And we get in first due and end up making a grab. The guy was a New York City fireman. He was on his he was retiring. He was on his leaves, terminal leave.
Holy shit.
Yeah, a guy named Roosevelt Williams from 212 Engine. So I got a medal for that. That was that medal day.
Wow,
And then
there's the winner of the Mo
Look at all
Ginsburg
those are the
there.
three boys there. Those are the three
Yeah,
boys.
those are my boys. Yeah.
Holy shit. All of them are on the job.
Yeah, they're all on now. And that's my beautiful wife, Jody.
You did all right there, Chief. Look at you, marrying up.
Yeah, she's a good girl, man. My rock. That's my
great.
crew right there, the Rats. Let me tell you, at my retirement party, that was the biggest table, and they would add till friggin' 1 AM.
Really?
The place we had the party at, the guy threw us out. He goes, "You guys got to leave."
And Pete, go to the right a little. There's the winner of the Mo Ginsburg Award again.
I saw
Hold
it.
on.
Whole
Hold
family's
on.
rats.
Yeah, the Rats.
Hey, hold on. The Mo Ginsburg Award.
There he is, Hunter. Yeah,
Love it.
see, he's got his uniform and everything.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, my
Yep.
face hurts, man. Holy man.
Yeah, Roosevelt Williams. So my buddy Jimmy Marchetti, I worked with in 216 and 108.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, you know Marchetti, you know his voice? He goes, Roosevelt Williams. He says, I guess he wasn't a popular guy in 212. You know who 212 is, the People's Firehouse?
Yeah, they closed it.
Roosevelt Williams. You grabbed Roosevelt Williams? He goes, you should have drew him back.
Yes, he was a hard charge.
That's a
Good work.
little harsh. A little harsh.
Yeah.
Hush.
Oh, man. All right, let's go to Captain.
Yeah. So 99 comes, I take the test, and bang, I get made. When was it? June of 99. Oh, it was like 2 weeks after Medal Day. I got promoted to captain. It was quite the month.
And now you make
Wow.
you make your way over to Queens for the first time.
I get assigned to the 13th Division. And I got a picture there with promotion to captain. And that's my cousin Eddie Anzalone, Fireman Ed. was there. Came to
That's
the Rock.
your cousin?
Is that your cousin?
Yeah.
The
We had
Czech guy?
Yeah,
I got
fine.
that.
No shit.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He
Finding out a lot about you
he started in 221 on the south side of Williamsburg there, and he transferred up to 69 and 28.
Wow, look how
There
young
he is.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
And just a shout out, he just lost his brother Frank the Tank, my cousin Frankie. That's who held him on his shoulders at the Jet games.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about? Big Horse.
Yeah.
We just
I'm a
lost
big Jet
him
fan.
like about 2 weeks ago, Frankie.
Ah, man. Rest
So
in
here,
peace,
God
brother.
bless.
Holy shit.
Anyway, so I make captain, and I get assigned to the 13th division, and I'm bouncing around, and I got it's kind of a good lesson learned here. I'm out on BI one day in like who's that single engine down by JFK?
314.
Yeah, I'm in 314, and we get a complaint about propane cylinders. So we go to this warehouse, and it's propane, illegally stored propane. So I was in the books, right? I know what I got to do. I take care of business. You call the fleet maintenance rack truck, and you do the receipt, and you do this, and you do that, and you also got to notify the chief. So now the 5-4 battalion rolls up, and the commander's name was Eddie Weber, really nice man, right? And he says to me, Lou, okay, did you do this? Yeah, that's done. Did you do this? Yeah, I got that. Did you do this? Yeah, that's done. He goes, what, are you just bouncing around? I go, yeah. He goes, you want a UFO spot? I go, yeah. He goes, 165. You start tomorrow.
Wow.
Look at that.
Just like that, bro. No lie.
Because you had your ducks in order. That's why.
From being diligent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being diligent, kind of. If you don't know what you're doing, figure it out on your own first before you call for help. There's nothing a chief hates more than a guy calling him for something that he could have looked up. You know what I mean? It's like a pain in the ass. Like, stand on your own, man, and do your job. So it worked. It worked out. Next thing I know, I'm in 165 in St. Albans. Great place.
Yeah, it's a great house too.
Great house, man. I work with guys like Tony Martin is still my buddy. He's a coach on the football team. Larry Mooney, the Moondog, Tommy Valentine, my best man from my wedding, Farmingdale Fire Department, Jimmy Yeskovich, Yuki. You ever hear of Yuki? He ended up as a lieutenant in 107.
No.
Yeah.
107. Never heard of it.
107. What is that? Oh, the
You
pink
heard of them?
houses. Yeah, I know those. The pink houses.
Mikey Stack was one of my firemen. He just retired out of 170.
He just retired. I saw that. Yeah.
Great guys. And I was there for a year, and I loved it. You have, when you work in Brooklyn or the Bronx, you have kind of this preconceived thing about Queens, but it was great, man. The guys were into drilling. Fire duty was good. And I would have stayed there, but the captain came back off of on some detail. Patty Hawkins, the Hawk, another great guy. And I had to go. So
you were keeping it warm for him. And then
kept it warm for a year. It was great time, great guys. And
you wind up on your feet. You go up to Harlem.
Well, what happens is I take the Chiefs test now, and I'm on the top of the list. And we're into it's 2000. And Mike Weinlein was the 13th commander. He comes to me after the 165 gig, and he says, "You got to get in a spot. You're getting made chief soon." I was top of the list, and he goes, "I'm putting you in Rockaways 121 UFO down on Beach 53rd or whatever it was, in the old Tilton Firehouse with the stairs. Everything was
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was there like 3 months, and I'm like, I'm going to get made soon. And I just put in a wish list. Like, I put in for there was a transfer order. I put in 80 engine. 123 was open. I put in like 4 companies all over the city. And probably the only time I never called to try and facilitate, get something like Carol from the transfers.
Right.
I didn't make any calls. The transfer order comes and goes. I didn't get nothing. I'm down at 121. And next thing I know, Pete Gansey calls me. And he's the chief of department now. And it's a week after the order, right? And Pete helped me get on the job. And he goes, "Jimmy, how you doing? I've been, you've been doing good in your career." He goes, "I'm giving you 80 engine." I go, "What do you mean?" I go, "That got filled last week by a guy named Keenan. He was a guy that worked at the Rock. He was an older guy." What happened was he didn't really want to leave the Rock, but he was leveraging him for something. And he said, "Well, I'm leaving." And he got the spot, and then they kind of relented and they gave him what he wanted over at the Rock. So now the spot was open. and Gansey saw me and he gave me a call and bang. I got
good things for good people. That's what happens.
Yeah. So I go up to 80 and I was happy, man. I'm in the 16th Battalion. I'm back in the 6th Division where I was a fireman in the 17th Battalion. And it was great, man. I get up there and, the guys are a little leery. Who's this guy? Just came out of nowhere, and they had a UFO captain that wasn't happy, which I don't blame him. Probably wasn't the best move that I made.
Right.
No, but I want to get a spot. I'm getting promoted. I want a company, so I just put in and so whatever. I get up there and some of the senior guys maybe were a little leery, and I said, listen, give it 2 weeks, you'll love me. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And
they did. Look.
Say that all the time. I mean, guys say it all the time. They pop out of it into a spot, and then in 6 months, you don't even remember that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
take care of business.
I get up there. My chiefs are Tom Proby, who was a captain of 60 Engine. I remember him when I was a fireman. Frank Donnelly, John Norman, and Bobby Strong were my chiefs. And I work with I'm the captain of 80. The captain of 23 is Jimmy Duffy. He was my lieutenant in 92 Engine. So it was awesome to be reunited with my old lieutenant.
Mm-hmm.
And I had senior guys like Andy Haran was still a buddy of mine. Jimmy Bevers in the Engine. Mike Alexander, Mike, he's captain of 50 Engine. No, you don't know a lot of the Bronx guys.
No.
You picked that up?
Yeah, good guys, man. Good guys, good house, good tradition. And, I did about I was only there a year and 9/11 hit and then bang.
And then they made you right out of
there.
there.
Got promoted right out of there.
I got promoted 4 days later, these mass promotions at headquarters, you know what I mean? Because we lost so many officers and fire.
Right. But they assigned you to the rescue battalion. How'd that happen?
So I get made. It's not September 16th to 01. And at the time, because of the chaos of 9/11, they just left you in the division you were in. There was no, like normally you go to another division. I stayed in the 6th Division and, bounced around there. I was actually working back in the 16th Battalion, the 17th Battalion, where I was a fireman. I remember I used to mop the floors, and now I'm in the office with my feet on the desk. It's kind of pretty amazing. But about 4 or 5 weeks goes by, and SOC took such a hit on 9/11, and the rescue battalion lost everyone but one chief, right? Jack Spillane was the only guy that survived. Yet you lost John Moran, John Paolillo, Charlie Casper, and of course Ray Downey, who was the chief of rescue ops, we lost him. And so they asked John Norman, who was in the 16th Battalion, to take Ray Downey's spot as the chief of rescue ops. And about 4 weeks later, John calls me, says, Jimmy, I want you to come and be a chief in the rescue battalion. And I said, Chief, I never worked in SOC. And he said, don't matter. He goes, I need leaders. And that was basically, I said, all right, I'm there. So, of course I was a little, not hesitant, but like a little nervous, you know what I mean? Because you're going into this hard charging atmosphere. But it was time to rebuild that command. That command took such a hit. And I went down there. Tommy Richardson came in from the 3-8. Jack Corcoran, Captain Jack, he was a captain of Rescue 4. Yeah. He was in the 5-2. He came back. John Salter came back from the 18th. Steve Rossweiler just made chief out of 252. Donnie Haid just made chief. He came in. And we had eight battalion chiefs, and we were doubled up. We were ABCD chart. Mm-hmm. So I was paired up with Captain Jack Corcoran. He's a chief now. And what we did was one of us would be at the site during the 24 for about 12 hours. And one of us would be riding in the rescue car, taking in jobs citywide. And then we would switch, the two of us, And that's how we did it. We ran it with that double group for that 9-month period till we were done down there.
And what was your perception of working in SOC for the first time?
You know what? at first I thought, maybe I'm going to be intimidated. I wasn't. The guys were great. They were totally respectful of your rank, and I was confident in myself. And look at these guys I'm working with. What an honor, right? And we did what we had to do down there, between holding the rig for fire duty runs and being down at the site recovering our brothers. So it was certainly an honor, and then I stayed. I stayed for all of them guys. Most of those guys went back. Salker went back to the 18th. Richardson went back to the 3.8. Captain Corcoran went back to the 5.2. But I stayed. Donnie Hayes stayed. Jack Spillane was there before 9/11. Stevie Rossweiler stayed. And that's what made up the battalion after, when did we wrap up down there? About May of 02?
May.
Yeah, 02.
So after May, us 4 guys stayed in the rescue battalion. And then I did maybe another 9 months. So maybe about a year and a half. And then, I had that desire to be a 1st 2 battalion chief again that I really hadn't been since I got promoted. And Cassano was the chief of ops. I don't know. I met him down at the site, I guess, during all our time down there. I guess he took a liking to me, and he gave me the 4-4 battalion when I left the rescue.
Great spot. Yeah.
Yeah. So just to backtrack, so in December of 01, after I get to the rescue battalion, I got to go to the rescue school. They gave us a 2-week abbreviated session. And even me as the chief, I went, and I carpooled with Johnny Fowler from 176. You know Johnny?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He went to Rescue 2. And Billy Murphy, who's the captain of Rescue
3. Yeah.
Yeah, he came out of the highway, 156. And the 3 of us, that's how I met those guys. Great guys. And we carpooled for those 2 weeks.
He's a band guy too, right?
Yeah, Billy's in the band. Yep.
Yeah.
And,
out of his mind.
Yeah, we went to the rescue school for 2 weeks and did the trench course and the high angle and all of that, and then back to work after 2 weeks. But great.
What did you think of the training, Chief? Did it?
Like I said, it was abbreviated version, but it was awesome, And
did you think that
these are the go-getters in the job, guys that want to give of themselves to, you know what I mean? To give. You go to these companies, man. You're talking about a lot of training, a lot of effort. There was no 12% back then. These guys did it because they loved the job, man. They were, hard charges, like you say.
Yep. So, how long are you in the 4-4? Not that long, huh?
No, because now I take the deputy's test and I nail it, and I'm on the top of the
guy at the top of the list every time, man. I don't have to ask Chief.
I know another guy like that, always on the top of the list. There, starts with a K, ends with an R.
Who's that?
I don't know.
Kubler.
Chief Steve.
Steve, yeah. I mean, I did 2 years as a captain, and I did 2 years as a battalion chief, and bang, bang, I was gone. So I do 6 months in the 4-4. I mean, it was a great place. Me and Danny Donahue went there together. Danny's, I don't know if you know Danny. We ended up on staff together, but
I was in 117 with Danny.
Yeah, okay. So Danny, we were there, and 6 months later, the deputy. That was the quickest promotion I ever had, from test to promotion. I took the test, and 6 months later, I was a deputy.
Holy shit, that is fast.
The fastest turnaround. So, that was it.
Did you think you were ready at that time to?
Yeah, I was never. I was always felt pretty confident. Other than going to SOC initially, I was a little leery, but I was always pretty confident in my abilities.
When did Lou finger poke you?
We're getting up to that. Hold on. Oh, as a matter of fact, wait a minute. But first, you go back to SOC as a deputy.
Well, first I
1st Division 3 in Manhattan. I'm sorry. Right?
Yeah, well, I get promoted and I get assigned to the 3rd Division in Midtown. But before I go there, Sal Cassano calls me up. He's the chief of ops, and he asked me, come work for me at headquarters as a deputy. And just like his assistant, you know what I mean? And it started a long line. I had an office there that they still have the list on the wall. They call it the Penske files of every deputy. Every deputy that has gone there, everybody's gone through that office since I started that spot.
Fucking Penske files.
Yeah, and so I went and worked with Cassano for 6 months, and the guy was, what a guy. I mean, true to his word, at the 6 month mark, I was out of there, and I got the 3rd Division in Midtown.
Watch the chat, Petey.
And I worked with Tommy Jensen and Tommy McCavanagh with deputies, and under me in battalions was Jack Mooney. I had Jack on. He was in the 8th Battalion. I had Jimmy Hodgins was in the 9th Battalion. Great guys, great chiefs, great firemen. A good experience, but again, it didn't.
Did you want to go to the 3rd, or was that just he offered that to you? Or
I'll tell you what, as a deputy, I think you want to be in one of those Manhattan divisions.
Toronto tells me that all the time.
Yeah, because man, it is a thinking man's game in Manhattan, and at that level, I always felt like, the bread and butter fires is great when you're a fireman, when you're a lieutenant, when you're a captain, when you're a battalion chief. But, when you're a deputy now, I wanted a challenge, and you're not going to get that challenge enough for me in the outer boroughs. I didn't think. That was just my thought.
No, it makes sense.
Everyone has a different opinion. But
I definitely agree with that.
Midtown was a challenge, and the 1st Division, just so much diverse building types and everything going on. You got rivers, you got subways, you got,
just the buildings there itself, the fires, the loft buildings,
the whole square block, some of those buildings.
Yeah, my first fire.
Yeah, out 42 windows. Yep.
And they got subcellars.
Oh, there's something else.
No,
I'm out on subcellars.
Louis out on subcellars. Yep.
But
so why did you leave then? Why did you go back to?
Because Cassano called me again. I was there 6 months. He calls me back. He says, "Jimmy, I want you to be my chief of rescue ops, which is the deputy role in SOC."
Right.
When I go, "Chief, I just got here. I'm here 6 months." He goes, "Don't worry about it. They force feed you there in the 3rd Division. You're good." I go, "All right, I'm good." And off I went. I gave up my spot and I went to Roosevelt Island, back to SOC. And that was an administrative job. Now that's a 5-day a week.
Yes.
You're not doing your 24s. You're not in the firehouse, but it's a challenge. And Chief Norman, John Norman, left that role and he went to headquarters as a 2-star chief, the chief of SOC, right? And SOC entails the Marine,
hazmat,
right, and then the rescues and squads. So now I'm back reunited with Chief Norman above me, and I'm the chief of rescue ops.
I remember that when you came there too. That was at the time that that whole Bronx fest took place, right? That was it the Bronx where they were getting real strict in the firehouses. They were taking
that was 03. Yeah, Chief Hagen was the chief of department around 03 with the no house watch TVs, no
right.
Yeah, I guess that, I guess 03 things were getting a little. I guess from his perspective, things were getting a little loosey-goosey. Well, you know what? Guys were licking their wounds from 9/11.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right.
No doubt.
It was rough times for the brothers. But I guess he felt he needed to, with all due respect to him, he felt he had a kind of a little reset.
Right.
And that was around 03, like you said. I remember.
Tighten the bolts a little bit.
Tighten the bolts.
Chiefs had to go out on after midnight visits. Do you remember that?
I remember that.
Yeah. But now, guy coming from going to 92 with putting gasoline down rat holes. I mean, how different is that from now? You got to tell a guy. Now you got to tell a guy, say, "Hey, listen, no TVs in the house."
Yeah, it's different. I mean, it's totally different. You gotta listen when you take a promotion, you take that role. You gotta assume that role. You can't live in the past. Like I said, it's not easy those first few months, that transition.
How do you do that? Like just having you on the show right now, I've learned a whole different side.
I know.
Me too. How do you, being the guy that you are, go out and have to enforce that to the guys?
I was a screwball in the firehouse. We used to do crazy stuff.
That's what I'm saying. So how do you go? Like, how do you do that? How do you pull that off? Like, you don't really believe it.
You know what? You try not to be hypocritical. You try to remember where you came from. You use that things you did in the past, and you use that. You balance things with those experiences. You know what I mean? So now as a boss, when an issue comes to you, first of all, if you've been down the road that I was down, you don't get rattled too easily over something happening. Right. And you kind of remember where you were before you make a decision on what you're going to do.
But if a decision is made for you, like, all right, we got to tighten the bolts. I mean, you probably don't believe in that because you came from a firehouse. So you got to go out and now tell these guys to do this when you don't really believe in that yourself.
Well, I'll give you a perfect.
I don't know if I don't believe in it fully, but there's a balance. There's a balance. That's all I could say.
We came back from a run. I was in the engine at the time in 290. We come back from a run. It's in the middle of the summer. It's like 97 degrees outside, and we're running around all over the place. And we all come back to get something to eat. I think we ordered out, and it's like 2 or 3 o'clock. I don't even know if I said this story before, but just thought about it. So I had to be around that time because having somebody on the house watch was like a big thing for the 3-9, right? That was like a big thing. We had to have somebody on the house watch. Have to have somebody on the house watch. Have to have somebody on the house watch. So all of a sudden, we're all eating. I'm not paying attention to who's out or whatever. And all of a sudden I hear Lieutenant Refrano to the house watch. And I'm like this. I'm like, who's on the watch? And then one of the guys is like, Lou, I have the watch. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And I look out and I look down, through the door.
As a chief.
I see the chief peeking out of the house watch door. I'm like this. Come on.
That was him saying that? It was the chief saying it?
Yeah, that was the chief saying it. So now I start walking down. I'm like, you fucking guys are going to get me in some shit. So I walk all the way down. As I'm getting close to the door, now he's sitting back in. I don't see him. He's sitting in there in the recliner. And as I get close, the TV's on. And all I hear is, oh yeah, God, oh yeah. I'm like, oh my God almighty.
So
I come in and he's looking right at me. I shut the TV off.
Yeah.
I'm like, how you doing, Chief? He's
what
like,
can I do for you, Chief?
Yeah, he's just like, where's the house? Whatever he said, where's the house watchman? I'm like, Chief, we've just been running around all day. I apologize. He did let me slide through there a little bit, and for the most part. But I come back in, but again, like you said, I come back in. I'm like, listen, if the guy wants somebody in the house, well, just eat on a goddamn house watch. Why are you making? This is not the time to make a havoc over here for this bullshit like this,
Yeah.
But funny, like you said. That's all. Yeah. Oh yeah, God. Oh yeah.
I never heard that story, Ruffy. Look at that.
You know what? You always try to remember where you came from. That'll help you moving through the ranks.
Speaking of moving through the ranks, boys, we're getting a little long in the
That's
tooth.
all right. We got a little time. Okay. We got some place to go. We're good.
So
because this is the part we're waiting for right here, when you get transferred back to Division 15.
Yeah. Covering. So I did a chief of rescue ops for a year. It was that offline administrative role. It was great, but again, my desire to be back in the street running a fire. Just I transferred back to the 15th. I bounced for 2 years. I was in the 13th for a year and a half. Then that chief came back. I went to the 15th for 6 months. And I ran into Louis at one.
Oh, you did now? Well, guys have been waiting to hear about this for a long time.
I'm not going to say.
Who wants to tell the actual version of this story? Pete, I think we have a version, don't we?
Well,
go ahead. Let's hear your version. I'll tell you if you're right or not.
Well, listen, first and foremost, believe it or not, I've been holding out for quite a bit of time. Me and Kev have, because we have photo evidence of the event. Boy, now,
this can't be good.
I just want to say that, Chief Daly, I know this was a traumatic experience for you. And I hope this photo doesn't recall any of your trauma. So if any of our watchers are good with mental health, please be on standby. But I heard that this was the view right here from you when you were looking at
that was my view with Lou.
Yeah, and I really don't. Now, was it either this guy or was it this guy here?
Whoa! Look at that guy. I can see why you would be scared.
I think that first guy was probably a reciprocal view.
I think he's probably right. I think it was both.
Yeah.
Okay, let's tell the true story. We had to bust.
I'll hear the Chiefs. Louis sits there quiet all the time and just laughs. He don't say nothing. So, Chief,
I will. Well, hold on. I'll say a quick thing. This wasn't even really about me. I just stuck my big nose in it because I believe we had a really good job. I think it was 2-second alarm. We were first due, and we didn't get to 1075. And when we first pulled up, there was you see a lot of smoke out the back, but I didn't give a 1075 right away because I didn't see, could have been a call fire. I didn't know what was burning, right? So then people were like, oh, yelling, it was, you know, there's flame out the window. So by the time we get up to the top of the stairs, I radio to Freddie Gallagher, who just passed away. He was a chauffeur. I tell him, give it 1075. We had a covering guy, if I remember right. It wasn't a regular guy in the engine in 290. And he doesn't give a 10. I think he was a brand new lieutenant, and he doesn't give the 1075, right? So the guys do a great job. We find the fire. You know, it was a pretty long building. I think it's one of those 80-foot jobs, and we put the fire out for the most part, I think, and we get relieved, and we come out, and there was something going on. Again, not to get too into the details, but I saw the chief was upset with, I believe, with the engine guy initially that we didn't get the 1075. So when I came over, again, it wasn't even me initially. I stuck my fucking big nose in there, and you know, just because that's what I do. And before you know it, we were not finger poking at each other, but
No,
you know,
it didn't go that far.
No,
It didn't go that
that
far.
far.
I'll say that much. It didn't go that far.
But
like I said, if it's any consolation, I got the big lift.
I said we're not too when you got lifted. I remember saying when you got lifted, and I heard how it went down. I'm like, yeah, we're not too far off from each other.
Nah, listen, whatever. Birds of a feather flock together.
That's it. That's it.
So, Chief, what's your perspective? What happened that day? He comes out.
That was it. I was just bringing up, you know, the importance of giving a 1075. You don't get the fourth engine. You don't get the fast truck. You don't get the all hands chief. You know, it's important to give it. And that was all. It was. I'm not going to go further than that. You know what happened?
Well, I don't know what happened.
So I think if I remember right too, I got the next day. Chief Coward came and said, "Listen, they're going to, they're going to lift you for whatever it was, a couple of months out of the firehouse. Not, you know,
it was 45 days, right?
Yeah, I think 45 days or something like that.
Where'd you go?
So Chief Cartwright actually called me. And he's like, Louie, we're going to lift you for, I think it was for 30 days, but you're going to be in Brooklyn. You're going to just bounce around in Brooklyn. I'm like, this is a freaking home run. I get out of this shithole. And now I'm going to, you know, I remember going to 112. I seen Captain Caratu. I was going all over Calamari.
Caratu. You guys know his story, right?
Yeah, with the bike.
My God, what a FDNY class.
I'm trying to get him on the show. You
didn't send it to like Staten Island or something?
No.
Oh, come on.
So
remember what we said? You got to remember where you came from.
You know what?
It was a little, Louie, it was a little tweak. That's all.
You're a man of your word, Chief. You are a man of your word. You got to remember where you came from. You live by your word, so respect.
Well, like Poop says, sometimes if you know you feel like you're getting disrespected, you get your dander up. That happens. That's me.
I think I even said that. I think I said, you know, I feel like I'm saying the right thing, but I'm doing it in the wrong way. That's what I said.
Because listen, I always pride myself in being very respectful to everyone. People above me, the superiors, people below me, subordinates. Everyone's got a job to do, and everyone needs to be treated nicely. I mean, when I was a staff chief in headquarters, I used to say hi to John, the janitor, and all the civil. Why not? They're nice people. Why would you not want to be pleasant? You know,
I pissed Louis off one time, and he wound up urinating on the roof of my car. I mean, I don't know what happened.
And for the record,
yeah.
every time we saw each other, if I saw the chief somewhere after that, it was always cordial. It was always, how you doing, Chief? It was never, you know, I never liked you.
Side eye.
No malice.
That's not as good as the stories we made it out to be.
I know.
No, you guys were beefing it up. Sorry to let you down.
Hey,
damn it.
But you know, Chief Daly, it could have been a lot worse. You could have been an 80-year-old grandmother and got your door kicked in.
Maybe, yeah.
You know what I mean? In Rockaway.
Look at his face. We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on.
Not the Rockaways. That was in Maspeth.
Oh, Maspeth. Right.
That was
so anyway,
worse.
I go to the 6th Division up in the Bronx. I'm with Kevin Butler, Ray Stanton, great guys. In with 71 and 55. I'm getting a spot up there. I put in for the spot. I'm getting a spot that week. And Pat McNally is now the new chief of ops. Sal Casano goes to chief of department. And Pat McNally calls me and he asks me to come down to the 1st Division and be the 1st Division commander after the Deutsche Bank.
You're a sought after guy.
Yeah, he called me up. I says, Chief, I don't know, man. It's kind of a awkward spot because those guys had all gotten lifted out of there because of the fire to no fault of their own. You know what I mean? They were scapegoated. But I said, let me think about it. I waited about a day or two. You know, I had come out of the 3rd division, but gave up the spot when I went to SOC. And now I'm thinking, you know what? There's probably a reason that I'm getting called to go back to Manhattan. You know what I mean? And I talked to my wife about it. I actually talked to a buddy of mine, Paul Ferro, who I was in the 13th with, deputy. You know, I don't know if you know Paul. He ended up in the union.
Yeah, he was a union guy, right?
Great guy. Great. One of my main men. But we talked, and he recommended it, and I said, I'm going to do it. So I called Chief McNally back. I said, I'll do it. So off to the 1st division I went. And that was in 07. And I reconnected with Bobby Carroll. We went to Proby school together. He was a deputy there. And what I did was I brought in as my 8. Now I started in 1 of 24, right? Back 25 years earlier. Well, all the guys I was fireman with were now senior guys there. I brought them all down to the division with me because you want to surround yourself with your people.
Yeah.
Timmy Farley that I went to Proby school with, we walked into one engine together. I brought him down as my aide. Jimmy Cody. Mike Pinto was from 24 Truck. I brought all those guys. Sal Scarantino, who passed away on us while he was working with us. All these guys I was fireman with 25 years earlier. And it was phenomenal. And then Mike McPartland came down as a deputy with us. And I was there for 5 years, from 07 to 12. What a great place to be a deputy and really challenge yourself. And I had some pretty amazing incidents. I mean, from fires, which it's the least busiest fire duty division in the job, but I had the greatest bosses. You know what I mean? I had battalion chiefs, Tommy Dans, John Rail from 108 that I was a fireman with, Tommy McCarthy in a 7th Battalion, John Plant in a 2nd Battalion. Great guys.
Yeah.
I had all new officers, company officers, all from the 6th Division, the 15th Division.
Wow.
Good guys. And I told them, you down here, there's not a lot of fires. You got to groom these guys to be firemen. You know, you got to teach them how to be firemen. And by that, I meant, like, I'm a big proponent about interior operations and not pulling the units out too soon for tower ladders. You know, there's a fine balance, and you got to have confidence in yourself as a chief to know that balance. Because if you pull these guys out too soon all the time, which I saw was becoming a kind of a
trend. Yep.
How are you going to develop these firemen if they don't ever know what they're capable of? You know what I mean? But if you could get a guy to put out 4 or 5 rooms of fire, that guy he's golden now. He wants to do it again. Yeah. But if he's never done it, he never knows what he's capable of, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
And if you hear that, I've heard this a lot of times, like, Chief, give us 2 more minutes. We got it, right? And if you know that guy and you trust in that guy, you're going to give him that 2 minutes, right?
That's big. Oh, like Danny Murphy, when he was in Rescue 2, I was in the 15th. He was my go-to guy. He's giving me reports. I know they're solid reports. I have full confidence in what's happening. In the 1st Division, you know who it was down there? Bobby Morris in Rescue 1.
Right.
He gives me a report. I know it's golden, man. And then now I can make my decision based off of his info and have confidence in it.
Well, I think that's important. Like, we've talked about that too. Like, even as an officer, you can't just say, yeah, give me two more minutes just because you think you just don't want to be, you know, a coward. You know what I'm saying? You got to, if you're going to say that, then you have to be doing it right. You have to, right. Otherwise you say, you know what, Chief, we're going to get out of here because I'm not going to be able to do this in 2 minutes. Right. So, and that's how you gain trust. You don't just get it by just saying that every time there's an opportunity to say that.
I had a roaring 5th alarm taxpayer in the 13th Division. I pull up, the battalion chief was kind of overwhelmed. It was bad. It was a supermarket and 2 stores on either side. And he was not sure where all the units were, and I pulled the plug. It was a Sunday morning, you know, one of those deals on Jamaica Avenue. You know, one of the lieutenants of the 1st Engines came over to me afterwards. Gary Valia was his name, 302 Engine. He goes, Chief, thanks for pulling us out. He goes, we were 50 feet deep in this pizzeria. It was hot, black. All I heard was crackling. It was bad, you know, like we're going to get killed in here. And yet, I guess he didn't have the, self-confidence to just withdraw.
Right.
Like, he came to me afterwards and thanked me for pulling him out. So that's kind of something like you said there. That's a fine line too.
Sure.
Let him go or pull him out. You got to have a lot of experiences and confidence as a chief to make those calls.
Absolutely.
But anyway, so I did 5 years down there, And
we go to promoted to Deputy Assistant Chief of Planning of that Bureau of Operations. So,
what about we had the couple of picks there. If you want to hit them, I know we're getting a little short.
Hit him, Pete. Hit him. We're going. This is going well. I like it.
We had the. I'm coming off of. I had 5 jobs on a 24. I'm coming off a brownstone job on 10th Avenue and about 29th Street, and I get a report of a plane in the water. Oh, that was before that.
Yeah. Hold on. I got you.
I did want to talk about this.
It was on 42nd Street. It was a 3rd Division box, but I'm on 10th and 30th. I'm like a minute away. So I say to my aide, make a right. We pull in, and there's the plane floating out in the middle of the Hudson River. U.S. Airways Flight 1549. I'm looking out there. I see 150 people standing on the wings of this plane out in the middle of the river. It's January of 2009. It was crazy, man. It was like.
So were you the first one in?
No, John Joyce was in the 9th Battalion.
Okay.
So, and I pulled in right after him, coming off of a brownstone.
And what do you give for this?
1060.
1060 or
I gave it. Yeah, I think he had already given a 1060. Major airline crash. I pulled in. And with my, I had the SOC background. I said, I want Marines 1, 6, and 9. All the Marine units responding in. You had the ferries already. We're hitting it, the passenger ferries from Jersey.
Right.
They were picking people up. But that there is, that's Marine 1 Alpha. See it in the picture?
Yep.
These were the first units on scene. They went out from 42nd Street, the Circle Line ferry. These are our guys, 34 engine, 21 truck. You see what they did? They had the inflatable hose from the water rescue.
Yeah.
They inflated the hose and threw it in the water for people to hold on to. But that's Marine 1 Alpha, Richie Johnson and Tommy Piambino. He had the big boat. Richie had the little boat. They come up. Richie grabbed about 20-something people on that little boat. I remember them coming into to the dock on 42nd Street with those in yellow inflatable from from the airplane, with the blow tubes.
Yeah.
I was like, this is crazy, man. It was soaking wet. People were trying to swim to shore. They got about 20 yards away from the plane. They said, oh, man, they swam back. It was brutally cold. And
the stock training came in handy there, right?
Yeah. These are all guys in the water. They guys from 21 truck went in the friggin' plane. Look at the back of it, was sinking. They went in and
I was going to say, how did the plane never sink, like totally sink?
Because it's got some sort of air tanks underneath it. That's what it's meant to do.
I always wondered that.
Yeah. So all guys went in that main passenger door. They went from 21 truck. They went all the way down that fuselage, did a search, and when they got to the back of the plane, the water was up to their necks. You see it? How deep it went?
Yeah.
But they went, and think about if that front door went under the water while they were in the back of that plane.
That's going under.
They're done. They're not getting out of there. If that front door goes under the water while they're in the rear of that, they're done. I mean, that took some balls.
Yeah. They got a medal for that, Chief?
Yeah, I wrote those guys up. They didn't rescue anyone, but just the determination and the bravery. I mean, that's,
Now, was Sully the last guy out? Did he?
He was already out. Then our guys pulled up. You see our guys on the tether lines. They went in, and then this thing. Meanwhile, this whole incident is floating south the entire time. So the 3rd Division was my buddy Tony DeVita. He's coming, but from a distance. He was up in Harlem. I said, have the 3rd respond to the next Pier South, which was Pier 76, which was on like 36th Street. And he went there, and then the thing just kept floating south. So then Bobby Sweeney was the chief of ops. He jumped in my car with me in the 1st Division car. We flew down to Chelsea Piers, and we kind of set up there, and then the thing floated past us on Chelsea Piers. All the while,
shit,
crazy. All the while, Marine 1 had lassoed this thing with ropes, the big boat, Marine 1. And I got word from the Coast Guard, if this thing goes under, it'll pull that boat under. Make sure them guys. Yes. Bobby Sweeney had contacted the Coast Guard, and he goes, if that thing goes under, it's pulling.
That's a heads-up move right there.
So we told Marine 1, make sure you got your axes on deck ready to cut those lines. And they kind of, over the whatever it took, about 9 hours, it floated downstream. They coaxed it into shore finally at the Battery Park City. And then Rescue 1, Bobby Morris, we used the grip hoists, and we lashed it into some big trees in Battery Park City, and then it sank that night.
Oh, shit.
And the very next day, that river was iced over, solid ice.
Oh, wow. Did they dredge it up and eventually get it out of the river?
Well, the point is, if that thing crashed when this river was iced over, it would have split into a million pieces.
Oh.
It was just miraculous that it was open water that one day in January. The next day, all the ice floes came down from up north. And it was pretty wild. But it was a win. I said that night at midnight when we finally wrapped up after this thing was at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I go, that was a win, bro, because I was at the other crash in the Rockaways where we lost 165 people.
I was there too that day. Yep.
That was brutal, right? I mean,
there was fires everywhere. There was
Yeah, I was in the rescue battalion at the time. I came down there, and it was brutal. The bodies, the people. So this was
the clothes strung out all over the trees. It was
yeah, it was horrible. Then the kid was in the basement of the one house. He was a fireman's nephew or something. Remember?
Yep.
He was home from college. Remember that?
No, yes, I do remember that.
Pete, QC saying that plane is currently in the Aviation Museum in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, they took it away. They took it out of the water. They took the wings off. They took it on a flatbed right through like New Jersey, and away it went. So
that's crazy, man.
After that, you got a couple of pictures of Germany real quick. Sweeney asks his chief of ops, he says, hey, I want you to go to an air crash symposium in Germany and give a lecture on running that incident, you know? So while I'm in Hamburg, Germany, I took Charlie Clark with me. They go, what do he have to do with the plane crash? I go, nothing. He's my drinking buddy. So he got a Frio to Hamburg, Germany, too. And I went up in this Bronto towel out of 225 feet tall.
Screw that. And
that's me at the top of it there in the next pic. But it kind of put a bug in my ear about, Manhattan is the high-rise capital of the world, and we got our capability is still what it was for the Triangle Shirtwaist fire. The Triangle Shirtwaist fire, we couldn't reach the women on the 9th and 10th floors, remember? Yeah. And today we still can't, 100 and something years later. So I kind of got this bug in my ear, like, we need one of these, man. And I worked on this from that point on, from 2009 until I retired. It never happened, though.
What were you looking to get? A 225 or something?
I want rad ones over 300 feet where we could reach 30 stories.
How big is the rig?
I was going to say, how big is that rig?
The base is like a tiller. It's like a tiller. It sets up in minutes.
No shit.
I worked on this for years. I was on it with the apparatus committee, with the guys from Fleet, the civilians from Fleet, and great people. And I tried making it happen, but you got to have buy-in at the top. And I remember when I went to school out in Monterey at the Naval Postgraduate School, I went to this executive leaders program with the fire department. And this one chief gave a lecture. I forget where he's from, but he said something about this Penguin Award. And I think I should have got that. That's where you make an effort at something that doesn't pan out. But they give you the Penguin Award for a good try. So, yeah, I was all in on this thing.
That's the attaboy. You get an attaboy for that.
It made it into the city. They got one after I retired. They got one into the city. They put it up at the Ash Building, 23rd Street, that famous wedge-shaped building.
Yeah,
it never got support from the top. So, anyway, what's next? I go to staff, deputy assistant chief.
Yep, 2014.
Yep, and I'm down at headquarters working as the assistant chief of operations with Sudnick. He's the chief of ops. And I did 5 years on staff from 2012, actually, to 2017 when I retired. And I got a couple of pictures there quick. I'll show you what happened. Probably one of the, as a guy that prides himself in fire duty, probably one of the lowlights of my career was getting that Leon Lowenstein Award for the
what? Oh, Pete. That's funny. The Ebola picture.
Ebola, the at staff. Okay. They called me one day. We had the Ebola crisis, and I was working on that.
God!
From the operations perspective on what we're going to do when it hits the city. And they call me one day. They go, Chief, you got to go downstairs, get your picture taken. I go, for what? They go, you won the Leon Lowenstein Award. I said, what they win the Leon Lowenstein Award for? They go, for all of the work on the Ebola thing. I go, oh, Christ, I won an administrative medal. I go, all right. I went down. I took the picture.
Did anybody else see that?
I don't know. But look who's behind me. You got like Sweeney.
I saw it. Ed was right next to you, right?
Yeah, Chief.
Oh, no, that's
Chief Prezant. Chief
Prezant.
Yeah. I mean, Dr. Prezant.
That's Sweeney over your right shoulder.
Yeah, Joe Pfeiffer.
Pfeiffer.
Billy Seelig to my left.
See you again, man.
A lot of stripes there. A lot of
That's
stripes.
right up there with the. That's right up there with the Mo Ginsburg.
Yeah. Me and Hunter got parallel lines there.
Oh my goodness gracious!
But you know what? It's always about having a laugh, man. No matter what rank I was in, it was always about having a laugh, man. Because that's the best part of the job, was laughing in the kitchen with the brothers.
Oh my God, it certainly is.
You bring that to headquarters and you keep it going, right? Why not?
Oh, my face hurts.
So what makes you get out? You want to talk about that? How do we retire in 2017 at 32 plus years?
Yeah, well, you run into
The writing was on the wall, or
well, the writing was on the wall. The agenda maybe not something that I agree with personally. Which when them things happen, and then you run into people above you that you're not compatible with,
right?
And it's time to go. So there's a pick there. You see what happened to me there. I got in the office. It gets dangerous at headquarters.
It does, Pete. Yeah, I think.
I mean, it's going to take me a second to find that one.
Where'd you go to NYU?
Command post.
They took you right to NYU for that one, or
like I said, at the 7th floor at headquarters, it gets dangerous. People,
does. Yeah,
they could cut you with their tongue. There's also a lot.
Oh my God, you probably still wake up. You probably lay in bed at night still thinking about that.
Paper clips. You get, and
wow,
yeah,
that's what did you in right there.
Yeah, as a chief, we
very heavy, that command board.
I got caught in a command post collapse there.
And the chair too. I mean, the chair
that was it. That was it.
Looks like a pancake.
32 plus years. I had to wrap it up. So
maybe a lead to. That could be a lead to, bro.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, more lean to, I think.
Yeah, I had to wrap it up, and that was it, man. But I went out on a high note, and I went out my way.
Yeah, you did. You're like Frankie. You did it your way.
And then
now you can go hunting more. Now you got more time.
Yeah, now I hunt a little bit. That's my passion. I bought a farm with my wife. We renovated an old farmhouse. I do a lot of hunting. I got a tractor. I putz around.
Oh, we got him on the tractor too, Pete.
Putzing. You gotta like putzing.
Looking for the farming.
What'd you say? 8th-generation farmhouse?
It was same family owned the farm for 240 years since the Revolutionary War until Jordan and I bought it. Yeah. So that's what I do, man.
Don't suck doing that. I'll tell you that.
Not at all, bro. I could do that all day.
I understand.
You probably don't remember. I used to pick you up from the airport all the time. You and your sons when you went to Texas to like ball hunting or something.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember those? Oh yeah, man, all the time. Ferrer would be like,
yeah,
go pick up.
There's a couple of you Gettin Salty alum. Gettin Salty alum.
Oh, Bertha.
Tree Trio, the beef.
Tree Trio. He's down in Florida now, Tree Trio.
Yeah, that's my boys. Murtha man.
I might stop by Jerry. I'm going to Illinois this year, a couple of weeks. I might stop over there just to say hello.
Yeah. And then that was it, man. I wrapped it up. It was a wonderful run. It's hard to leave, but it ends for everybody. And
at some point, right?
Yeah, you just, you know what you do? You try to look back at all the good times, which there were so many. I mean, it's a tough job. There's a lot of sadness on our job if you really think about it, more than probably any other profession, I would have to say. But, the good times outnumber it 10-1.
I mean, sitting here, right, Roof? I mean, my face hurts from laughing. Just going through your stories. It's people wouldn't believe the time that we have.
You couldn't even make those. You couldn't even.
You can't make that shit up.
Make that up, But when I told the chief, I'm like, you know what it is? It's not until you look back, at your career, until you realize how special there's a lot of times in there that are special, and it's until you're finished. When you're going through it, you don't realize it. When you look back, you're like, holy mackerel, man.
This is not a job, man. This is a lifestyle. It's not a job.
It is.
I would have did this for free, man. I did it for free.
I tell people all the time. I just said this to some lady the other day. She had like being a farmer. I said I would have done it for. I saw her at the Pittsburgh game. She was sitting next to me. She asked me what I did for a living. I said I would have done it for free. That's how much I loved it. You're on vacation. You can't wait to get back to work. That's sick. There's something wrong with that.
I would do it all over again if I was a young man.
You know what's crazy too is I've just said this to a couple of guys, a guy down the road that just retired. I'm like, since I've been retired, I can't believe what I'm doing now. Like I used to fit my job into my life. You know what I mean? Like I can't believe if I had to think if I was doing what I'm doing now, there's no way. Like, it's just incredible how I used to think about going to work.
Well,
all
you have
the
to
time.
transition. You have to transition. You have to take on new passions and new goals. And you do.
No, it does change.
Well, this is how we're going to transition to this. You get to live through your sons now because your sons are in the prime of their career. Let's talk about that. Let's give them a little shout out here.
Yeah, let's give a shout out.
All right.
Let's start with.
Are they watching tonight?
All right, so they were my boys on 9/11 when I made battalion chief.
Oh my
God, babies!
That's Joe on the left, my oldest. That's on the right is James, and in the middle with the helmet is my youngest, Jake. He's about 2 classes away from getting on the job. And then if we could jump to where we are now, that's
the middle guy.
That's my middle guy, James, in 174 truck. He's got 7 years now. That was my last tour on the job.
That's my spot.
I went and visited James, my last tour.
Nice.
He's on Snyder Island. That's my youngest on the right, Jake. He's in the 4-7 station house in EMS. He's about 2 classes away from Proby school. That's his buddy.
Where's he going, Chief?
Nick Czechia. His father's a fireman in Rescue 2.
Where are you sending him?
Don't know. We're talking about it.
Well, it's on the table.
I already know where he's going. I know where he's going. Oh, he wants to go to the Bronx?
Well, the Brooklyn, his older brother's in his ear about the Bronx, so we'll see.
92.
I was going to say he's got to go to 92.
Show the other guy, Pete. The other guy is from.
And then my oldest son has got 5 years on now. He's in 45, 58. One of the
looks
on the job. These guys, they invite me all the time to their rackets and retirement parties. They make me feel like family, and it's kind of nice to be able to go back and be
how much time does he have?
He's got 5 years. James has got 7. They're both studying for lieutenant. I was
going to ask you, are they studying? Yeah,
they're both hitting it. They're doing good. I wish them both well. It's a nice route to go. And Jake's, like I said, Jake's about 2 classes away from getting into Proby school.
That's it. That's the hat trick.
That's my crew.
Holy mackerel, that's some crew.
And then you saw my beautiful wife. I showed you her picture at my retirement party, right?
No.
Yeah, we'll see it again.
Mrs. Daly, the rock of the family.
She's the rock of the family. She has to be
the girl, Chief. She didn't want you to go for the girl?
Nah, that was it. 3 was enough. But you know what? Is my wife, 32 plus years on the fire department. It's not easy to be holding down the fort with kids. All of us know that, right? For the wives.
3 boys. Could you imagine what that was like in the house over there?
Yeah. And she's been my rock through thick and thin.
We were saying that the other night that the women have to be just as tough as the men.
Sure.
Yeah. They have to share their husband with another family, basically.
Holidays and weekends, right? It's a tough haul.
And he got the fucking pipes there too.
Oh, he's got the fucking pipes.
That's my boys. That's my boy Chris Corbin in the back. That's Liam over my son James's head. You see him?
Oh, I do.
Oh, yeah.
And that's Jackie Hunter behind my son Joe with the baseball hat.
No shit.
Chris Corbin. Remember Corbin from 126?
Yeah. The living legend. The legend.
That's one of my boys from the band back in the day.
The legend.
Yeah.
Love it.
So that's my crew, man.
Great job. Great career. Great family, Chief.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Bravo. Your boys watching tonight?
Yeah, they're watching with all
finally came on. We finally got them.
Dude, they got all their buddies are on the job that they went through EMS with, and they're all good kids, man. They're the future of the job.
So tell your buddies, like, subscribe, and share. What is it? Like, subscribe, and share, right, Pete?
On the interwebs, on the Google Net. Yeah.
But you know what time it is now, Pete?
What time is it?
I know.
Well, it's actually time, ladies and gentlemen, for the old school health and safety tip of the day, which is brought to us tonight by the First Responder Center for Excellence. First Responder Center for Excellence is a not-for-profit organization dedicated to protecting the lives and livelihoods of first responders. Their education and research initiatives aim to bring greater awareness and understanding to the challenges to the health and safety and well-being of firefighters, EMS personnel, and other first responders. The goal is to reduce line of duty injuries and deaths, as well as occupational illnesses. They're an affiliate of the National Fallen Firefighter Foundation, and they're presenting today's old school health and safety tip of the day as be aggressive on on scene fighting the fire and be just as aggressive cleaning gear, equipment, and yourself after the fire. We must protect our greatest resource, the firefighter, which is so freaking true. With all the line of duties, 9/11 line of duties we've been getting lately, you know, it's a no-brainer. I think probably the new generation is probably a lot better than the old generation about that. What would you guys say about cleaning up and everything?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Yep. You
Much more
gotta
aware.
you gotta take care of yourself early in your career to live a long life after you get off the job, bro. And
Like Chief
after you
Daly,
get-
he has a farm.
yeah, good living, good wholesome living out there. But
Clean
you gotta
living.
go. You gotta make sure you take care of yourself when you're on the job, and when you get off the job, you have to make sure you're checked up. You want to catch stuff early.
Check up
You know,
on
you
the
want
makeup.
to collect your retirement and live a long life with your wife, who's been waiting patiently to get you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
herself.
she
So,
deserves it. She deserves it.
absolutely.
So,
Yep.
guys, head on over to firstrespondercenter.org, or if you're watching, take your little phone, point the camera at the QR code. That's that squiggly line code on the right side of your screen there, and it'll take you on over to the firstrespondercenter.org
It works.
to get all
That's it.
kinds of tips. Guys, get yourselves checked out. We love you. We want you to live. Come on.
Mm.
Do the right thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now, Pete, you know what time it
What
is.
time is it?
Oh,
Wait a
it's
minute.
time. What?
Wait.
Who?
I'm
We're
waiting
waiting?
patiently.
We're waiting, Coobs. What happened?
Oh, you know what time it is.
He's a mess. Okay, guys, it's time for the old school tip of the day. Day. Take it away, Chief Daly.
Okay, I got 3 of them. One for the new Probies on the job, all the new members. It's a gift to get on this job. Jump into this job with both feet. And that means get involved with your firehouse, sports, softball, basketball, join a bagpipe band, whatever it takes. Jump into this job with both feet, and you will get back tenfold from the relationships you develop with the different people that you meet doing these different functions, you know, and you'll have friends for life. For the new bosses on a job, when you get promoted, accept that role, be the boss. You get much more respect being the boss, being steady, being constant, than not doing that. You know what I mean? Be the boss, accept that role. Guys look up to you. They look up to your leadership that you provide. And for new retirees, my last old school tip of the day: after dedicating your life to the fire service and to the FDNY, it's hard to leave this job, because it's not just a job. It is a way of life. And it takes time to adjust. And one of the wisest men I ever met on this job was my old Lieutenant Al Hagen. And Al gave me excellent words of advice. He said, Jimmy, it's going to take you 1 month for every year that you worked to adjust to retirement. So I did about 33 years, and he was right. It took me almost 3 years to really embrace retirement, embrace what it can hold for you, and, you know, not be so sad that you left the job anymore. And he's a wise man, and he was accurate with that advice. So those are my tips.
That is great. I've never heard that before. That is so
I would
true.
say that's pretty true. It took me about
Yeah.
almost 3 years
You
before
finally settled in, Lou. You finally settled in.
I am. I'm settled in, man. I
It's
don't
fun.
you know, I hear guys, I will go back. I'm like, you know what? Now I'm already past
I
that
would go
point.
back.
I'm already
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
Chief, do you ever
already-
have dreams that
All the time.
you get a run?
you miss
can't
it.
find-
You can't get in your bunker pants.
I
What?
just had one up at the farmhouse 2 nights ago when I was hunting.
What?
I had
You
to
get-
run. I couldn't find my gear.
Holy shit!
Always,
I
you
told
can't
you.
find your gear.
I
It's always
told
your-
you.
2 nights ago. I couldn't
I
find
have
my
that
gear.
2 or
I
3
grabbed
times a
another
week.
officer's gear. Now I'm trying to get on the rig, and I'm like in slow motion to the
Yeah,
rig.
yeah, it's always slow motion.
Then
Oh, somebody's got to figure that out.
2 guys I worked with from 92 and 44 were in the dream.
That's
And
crazy.
they were, it was crazy, man. It was just
It's got to be about like fear, right? Like, because
Happens all the time.
you're afraid that you won't make the call. You know what I mean? That's what every
I don't
firefighter
know,
is.
dude. I had that dream 2 times a week, at least
So do
2
I.
times a week. It's
I'm
crazy.
I'm out 5 years now, and I still have those dreams
Holy shit, you're out
regularly.
Yeah.
Right, 2017.
See, I have dreams like that, but I have dreams that my father is the chauffeur driving. I'm in the back seat, but my other brother who passed away, and Chief Steve is the chief at the job. I'm like, holy shit, it's crazy.
I'm sure there's a lot of meaning there.
Oh,
but,
yeah. There has to be
I
something.
mean,
there.
Tank in the chat, who we know and love, everyone knows and loves, is saying, "Bro, I'm on the job and still have dreams like that. That he's in the truck, but his gear."
That is really the worst thing that could happen to you while you're at work.
A lot of retired guys.
To miss a
I
run.
talk to retired guys all the time, and they say the same thing. They can't find their bunker gear.
Yeah.
What was worse? What was worse in the middle of the night? Like if you had a bunch of runs or whatever, and it didn't happen often, but it did happen where, somebody come running up and like Lou, we got to run. I'm like, oh shit,
you were like in a coma.
Yeah, you're in a coma or whatever. You just sometimes you hear the beep boop. It was like an alarm clock, or it would change in your dream. You would hear it, but it wouldn't. It would become part of your dream.
Chief, great career. Thank you for coming on. Like I said, it's our honor. And we wish your sons and everybody the best of luck on the job, and hope they have the same experiences that you had and Louis I. And
yeah, me too. I wish them well.
Yep.
They got good oak.
I got a good oak there.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
I don't know. What do you guys got? Any shout outs or anything like that?
I don't have any shout outs today. No.
Nothing. We got Gonzo coming on. We got a mental health show on Monday. Gonzo actually responded to the Parkland shootings where his daughter was in school during that. So we're going to talk about all of that stuff and a little more, because you can never talk too much about mental health. So that's Monday. I don't know what we got after that, but soon after that, Louis will go off playing Elmer Fudd, and we'll be off for a couple of weeks. So that's that.
Yep.
All right, Petey.
Okay. Well, guys, I'm going to be real quick about it tonight. We're on all the players. Listen to us on anything that you want to, because we also are an audio podcast. But if you're watching here at youtube.com/Gettin Salty Experience, like, subscribe, and share. Let's get to that 100,000 mark. We're at that 27,000 mark. Let's get to the 100,000 mark. Shouldn't take us another 3 years to get there. Come on. Let's just hit that button. Instagram at Salty Dog Inc. is where you find us, guys. Go find the best fire photos in the game. Very cool, very old school, very salty. It's a vibe. Trust me, kids. GettinSaltyApparel.com. You guys know the deal. That's how we pay the bills around here. So check us out there for all the best firefighter apparel and accessories in the game. Thank you to everyone who donated to us in the super chat. We really appreciate it. You guys are our sponsors. Thanks for any super thanks that are out there. Guys, Facebook, Gettin Salty fans page. Head on over there. Follow the rules, and you won't get kicked off. All right, following the rules on the Gettin Salty fans page. Very nice. Okay, I had to. The reason I'm saying that, guys, is because I had to take someone's post down today because they posted an ad. You don't post ads in that group. It's about sharing information, linking up with other firefighters, making good friends. That's it. It's community. If you want to advertise with us, gettinsaltyads@gmail.com. Gettinsaltyads@gmail.com. All right. Gettinsaltyexperience@gmail.com for your questions for the show. Coobspodcast@gmail.com for all of our cocklofts and cocktails content. That's your fire photos, your helmet cam footage. You know the deal by now, guys. You've seen it all. The hot old lady contest. Let's not forget that.
Tables, rigs, mustaches, tattoos. Send them all.
Very important. All right, guys, and excuse me, everyone. I'm a little verklempt. I have a bad cold going on here, so I apologize in advance. All right, guys, that's it. That's all the news that's fit to print.
All righty. All right, Chief. Thanks again so much. Stay on.
You, guys.
We're going to talk to you in the post show, and Ruffy, I'll see you. I'll talk to you over the weekend.
10-4.
Right,
Chief,
guys.
thanks for coming on, man. Good stuff.
Thank you, guys.
Later, guys.
The red wave is coming.
Yeah.
Stay low and go.
Let's
Stay
go.
low and go.
Take back this country.
We'll see you at the big one.
Zeldin for governor. Later, guys.
Yeah,